Warning, it is the opinion of the Forestry Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, living real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by JDub, Justin Richardson, and our guest today is Mr. Thickfit himself, Chad Kilhefner. Justin, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm hyped.
You're damn right you're hyped. All right, well, this is the Working Perspectives podcast. You can find us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can hang out with us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast and join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, then please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please, God, it's every day. It's nonstop. Can you please just either like or subscribe or both? Because literally it's driving me insane how much my wife bitches at me for doing this show. All right, well, let's get this thing started. Let's go.
It's our objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our line and how we get live. Then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. Would you share it? Would you share it? Would you share it? Working Perspectives.
Okay, Jalen Dub. Let me tell you about this guy. All right. So we've brought this up on the show before. This place, the Renzo Gracie PA Academy in Hatfield. You know it, you love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I fucking love this place. And there's a lot of things to love about this place. It's the culture, especially. It's a life-changing experience going there. And if you commit to going there and being part of the culture, your life is going to change for the better, right? So one of the best things about the Renzo Gracie PA Academy in Hatfield is that the people you meet there, like if you, like, I wouldn't want to say survive, but if you commit to that place, the people that you meet that are committed to that place are great people, right? Like we've had a ton of them on the show, you know, Josh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Don Lyons, right? We got a couple more, you know, we had Amber on the show, right? We have a couple more lined up. Padilla we had on the show, Aaron Rosenthal we had on the show, right? And like, they're all just, you know, great people. And it's like, you know, and it all starts from that place. So a couple of years ago, right? And this, I've talked about this as well. I would freaking love, absolutely love, if they had a reality TV based TV show there and they just called it life transformations, right? Because I'll tell you what, if they had one of those, our guest today would be like the number one life transformed guy right now. Okay. So when I first met Chad coming into the gym, he was like, I wouldn't say he was like he's a big guy. He's tall, right? Like he's got big bones, heavy hands, right? And like, but he was like a tall, like bigger guy, but he, you know, he had some weight on him, but I wouldn't say he was fat. He was just like, you know, he was husky, right? He comes in and he has two sons that come in as well, right? And he right away just like falls in love. And you could see like, okay, this guy is in, right? He was at every training session. He's jumping into every like different kind of discipline. He's like, you know, testing himself and like pushing himself, but he's also like, I remember when we would like drill together and stuff. He's like the best drilling partner. You know what I mean? Like super like helpful and like really good at like listening and talking through stuff and everything like that. And like super cooperative. Right. And then eventually I would see he got on his entrepreneur horse, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but he started Thickfit. Right. And Thick Fit, man, it seems to me it's not just like, it's something he's pursuing. It just seems like how he's changed his life, right? And not even just him. Like he'll put up like pictures and videos of him and his kids, right? And his kids are like freaking little freaking jacked, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's another one of these things. And we talked about it on an episode that we released recently with Mike Padilla, right? And we've talked about this guy, and he's like a legend on the show by now, right? Because I think this is like the 4th time I brought him up. But his
Is this the
name,
dentist guy?
it's Dental Bill. You goddamn right.
I don't do jiu-jitsu. I don't wrestle. I know who Dental Bill is, yo. I would love to
Dude,
do
Dental Bill is a legend, right? And I'm telling you, Chad's in like that same category where like he's not like a roided out freaking, medium t-shirt fucking stunad, creatine kind of gimmick, right? He's just like a normal looking dude, right? Super nice guy, right? And like if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't you wouldn't think twice, right? But if some like Johnny Muscle on top of muscle guy tried to mess with him, oh, he'd put him in the ground and turn him inside out, man. And that's one of the great things about like the gym is that you don't know. Right?
Yeah, you don't know what the other guy can do. Yeah.
Oh, you better think twice, bub. You know what I mean? So, dude, I'll tell you, and like honestly, it's so great to see like the transformations, like and when I maybe won't see the weight, but he's lost like 70 pounds, a little over 70 pounds, right? Like that's a life-changing amount of weight.
Yeah.
Not only does it change like you physically, but like mentally and emotionally, and it's such like a spiritual awakening, but it's also like a total life commitment. You know what I mean? It just makes you, work harder and stronger and things. And like the message he supports and he puts out there, I think is great. So I'll tell you this, man, and I've said this before and I will say it again, is that, I know this show is an award-winning podcast, world-renowned, but I know it's good by the caliber of people that listen to the show and tell me they like it. And I'll tell you, I was tickled pink when Chad told me he was a fan of the show and he wanted to be on the show. And I'm telling you, I'm so happy he's here and I can't thank him enough for coming on. But before we get started, Chad, I just have to ask, Cheetos, crunchy or puffed?
Crunchy.
Fuck
Crunchy
yeah,
Cheetos.
it's crunchy.
Yeah, crunchy
Everyone's
Cheetos
crunchy.
usually.
Yeah.
I mean, puffed, we can get in the mood for puffed. Don't get me wrong, Matt.
Sure.
Puffed is a good mood, but if I have to choose, we're going to go with crunchy.
All
We're going to
day.
go with crunchy.
All day.
And if the boys are involved, we're going to go with hot Cheetos. Hot crunchy style. You ever have the hot Cheetos?
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, have you had the jalapeno ones yet?
Yeah. Yeah, the jalapeno I like better than the hot, actually.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The jalapeno's got that nice flavor. Oh man,
They
dude,
do.
when
Very
you're,
nice.
dude, when you get like the Cheetos are deceiving because they come in the smaller bag, right?
Yeah.
So like, bro,
Oh, yeah.
like you won't even know like you've polished off like almost the whole bag, and it's like an
No, you
hour
won't.
later, and you're like, oh, and your hands are just like, what the hell? I should have worn gloves.
Full of red dust.
Oh,
You ever have the mega container of the cheese balls with the screw off top?
oh yeah.
That's the best thing in the world.
Well, hold on, what?
Man,
Hold on. We
forget
talked
about
about
that.
it. What's the brand, Justin? Did we talk about?
So Planters makes
Planters is high class,
makes
right?
a banger.
Planters is high class. That's the
cardboard
monocle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're talking about
Yeah.
like the barrel with the screw top.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
clear plastic. Those are the most
Absolutely.
addicting things in the world.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, and then they just start melting in your mouth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you just start popping them in, and then they just start melting. And then before you know it, you don't know how many of those things you ate. They're dangerous, those
Oh.
cheese balls.
Dude, I'll tell you, imagine this. So I had a kid on the wrestling team, and I won't shout his name out, but I've talked about him on the show before, is that he would eat like almost a whole container of cheese balls after weigh-ins for wrestling, right?
Not one of those big monsters.
Oh, dude, he would just
Oh,
house
wow.
like handfuls, right? And he
Yep.
wasn't, dude, he wrestled like 130, like 140, like he was 140 pounds, and he's just har, 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 you know what I mean? But
Yep.
like, yeah, I mean, also he was a teenager, you could eat a freaking, a whole cow at
true.
that point, you know what I mean?
But,
But-
those cheese balls are one of the few things where like you eat so much you don't feel good anymore, and then you're still like look at them and you're like, all right, I'll have like 4 more.
Yeah, because it's just a cheese ball, it's just air.
Yeah,
It's
you're
mostly
right.
air
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
I don't want this, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
and it'll be a good salty kick. You know, just one little cheese ball ain't gonna
Right.
hurt anybody.
Yeah, dude. No, there is a point where you're like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. All right, one more. You know,
Yeah,
like
I do with Sour Patch Kids, yo. I'll be like, yo, I
Oh.
don't feel good, and I'll be like, putting
your
them
mouth
away,
is
and I'll be
like, oh,
like,
Sour
Yeah.
Patch Kids. The thing I do with Sour Patch Kids though is I'll save the red ones because the reds are my favorite. You know,
okay.
I'll
I
save
like that.
I'll save the red ones and I'll take like a handful. I mean, you can't get a big handful, but maybe you get like 3 or 4.
Right.
And then you just pop those in. You savor the reds, boy. And you
Uh,
go through that sour period, and then you get to the sweet red
Oh.
goodness. That's what it's about.
you ever,
That's
hell
what it's
yeah.
about.
Did you ever do the watermelon Sour Patch?
Oh yeah, they're good too.
dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know?
They're
Do you know
strong.
what? You know what's the move? Is that
What?
I know we're we're really off topic, but Starburst jelly beans. Have you
Ooh.
ever?
Oh,
Oh,
that's a
Yeah.
bad
dude, I'm a
yeah,
big.
yeah.
I'm
I
with
remember
you.
the-
I saved the pinks of the
Oh,
Starburst
pinks are
jelly
the
beans.
best.
The best. What were you saying, Justin?
I remember like the Easter, because my dad was real religious when we were kids. I remember the Easter like Starburst jelly beans like came out.
Oh, same.
Yeah. Oh,
Same.
you remember that? You remember that moment? The
It
moment
might
of
have
the year
been
they came
90,
out.
96, 97.
I-
It was early. I was like,
It-
what is this?
Yeah, it was in the 90s. I think I was like a 8th grade or like a freshman in high school, and I just remember being like, "What? These aren't normal. This is insanity." What
Jelly
is,
beans
you
are
know?
trash. I eat
Dude.
no other. I respect no other jelly bean.
Yeah. Oh, there's no
I mean,
comparison. They are
That's a
the
cut above.
Yeah,
They're better
they're
than Jelly Belly.
hell yeah. They're the Ferrari of jelly beans right now. Like, let's be honest. Once you have them, there's no going back, right?
It's tough. It's tough.
yeah.
You've been spoiled.
Yeah, big time, big time. So nice. Well, excellent answer to that question. How
yeah.
how you been, brother?
Excellent, excellent. What an introduction. Dude, thank you. And you're right about Henzo's. There's something about that place. The people
Yep.
that stay there, the people that are part of that tribe, and
Yeah.
it's life changing. And you talk
Big
about
time.
Dental Bill, like Dental Bill's one of my boys.
Oh, fucking one
Like-
love, Dental Bill. Love him.
I'm telling you, we've gotten to a point where we like look for each other. We like to train with each other. We look at each other and our eyes will catch each other's
Yeah.
across the mat, and it's like,
Yeah.
is it time? It's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And then we go and we have a good go at it, and we have a
No.
lot of fun. Always
Dude.
learn a lot of great stuff from Dental Bill.
Oh, he's the dude, and he is. But like, don't get it twisted. I fucking love Dental, and me and him, like, if you know him, he's a fucking funny guy, right?
He's
Like,
very funny,
dude.
Yep.
He's a dentist, and he's just like, he's a norm, but he's such a fucking goober. You know what I mean? He's a total goob. He's got those big like duck feet, but like, dude, when he goes, he can fucking go. Right?
Oh, let him put that baseball bat choke on you. That
Oh.
baseball bat thing, Oh yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
he's vicious. Yeah.
That-
And dude,
that
and
is
he can throw hands. He can do it. And he's like, dude, he's one of those guys where like, if you want to be an elite fighting machine, just go to every class, because that's what
Yes.
he does. He goes to
That's what he
every
does.
class, and he's a murderer. But he's like the kind of guy you'll see at the pool in the summer. He's probably got like suntan lotion all over his nose. You know what I mean? Like, but he's the dude. I love him. I love him the best. We actually have a couple I would love to get Dental Bill on the show. Shout out Dental Bill,
Yeah.
fan of the show, listener of the show. But we had Aaron Rosenthal on the show recently. We had Mike Padilla on the show recently. And I've got Johnny Dorito on the show coming up in a couple weeks. Fucking Dorito. Love Dorito.
Man.
Yeah.
All-star lineup he got here.
Oh yeah, dude. We had Don Lyons on the show. We had Josh on the show. You know what I mean? And like
Beautiful.
we had Oh, dude, I can't get enough people. I have another guy I know named Sean O'Toole. He's another guy I used to train. But yeah, and I'd love to get like young Ryan and all this stuff. But yeah, man. So how you been, brother? How are things?
Excellent, very good.
Nice. Nice.
Life is good. You take the opportunities where you see them and where you get them,
Yeah.
and you keep aiming up and going for it. And that's what we're doing, Matt. That's what we're doing.
Beautiful.
We're aiming up.
Hey, so speaking of aiming up, this is what I wanted to kick off the show with, is I want to talk about Thickfit. So
Yeah.
real quick, I'm going to give an explanation, but I'm going to let you take it from there. So Thickfit right now, you're on social media platforms, and it's you, like, you're really just spreading the word of like fitness and health and like the different things you can do and how like it's life-changing and anyone can do it, right? And you're helping anyone that can. So tell me, like, what was the inspiration for Thickfit, and like when did you start it and why did you start it? Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Thickfit USA, it came to me because I went through, a big personal transformation,
Yeah.
and I literally went from the couch in back pain,
Yeah.
not able to do things like I wanted to do, not able to play with my kids like I wanted to, not able to be the family man like I wanted to,
Yeah.
just different things, just
Yeah.
falling a little bit short until I made up my mind that, I can actually kind of choose my pain,
Yeah.
and I can choose, my mindset to get better. Right.
Mhm.
And I started with just some walking, with watching what I ate a little bit more, cutting out a lot of the sugars, a lot of the
Yeah.
sweets,
Yeah.
cutting out the sodas and things like that. And, I did some intermittent fasting, experimented with things, and I lost about 20, 30 pounds on my own. And then I
Nice.
was looking like, can I do something? Can I do something physical? Because for
Yeah.
so many years, I felt that I didn't have it in me,
Yeah.
physically and mentally. I thought like that, I was past that and I
Yeah.
couldn't do that and I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
But, I did a lot of research is what's something I could do with my kids,
Yeah.
preferably too. Like, is
Yeah.
there something that we could do together? And I found martial arts, and I was looking at that, and I looked at a bunch of different things, and I was looking at, classic, karate,
Yeah.
kempo, taekwondo, different things like that. But I always knew about jujitsu,
Yeah.
and I looked into that, and we showed up at Henzo's, we watched, we did a class, and then we stuck with that. And after
Yeah.
I was at Henzo's and training jujitsu for about a year, my life had completely transformed.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, there's something really special here, and people can do it.
Yeah.
So I thought, what's the best way that I'd be able to get out there and not just share my personal story, not for my own benefit, but to just kind of show that, like, hey, I did it, you can do it too.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're thinking you're struggling and you're in pain or you're past your prime, so to speak, what I realize is I ain't even hit my prime yet.
Yeah.
And I'm in my 40s, and that's an empowering feeling.
Yeah.
So I start Thickfit USA to say, hey, for me, it's jujitsu. For me, it's about finding that it's inspiration. It's about, a whole mind, body, spirit, change and transformation in
Yeah.
a positive way. And just physically, I'm better, mentally, I'm better. A better father, a better husband. I'm better at work. I'm better in all different types of things that I do because I decided to do something different.
Yeah.
So Thickfit USA is like, let's get out there and tell that story. Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to do different things. So like really what it is a community of positivity, right? Getting some like-minded people together to say, hey, we're aiming up, right? I use that phrase, like we're aiming up, we're looking to get better. How can we do this? Use the body, use the physical aspect of it as the foundation, because
Yeah.
that's so important. And if you let the physical go,
Mhm.
a lot of things crumble, with that. And I found that out the hard way, but
Yeah.
it's like you can do that. You can be in control of that, and you're a lot tougher than you think. That's
Yeah.
another part, of it too. So,
Yeah.
so Thickfit USA. Well, part of it is like, hey, if you're thicker, in stature, like I was, if you, and still am like that, it's for you. It's also a community. Like, hey, we roll thick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like all of us are together, and we do that fit. It's like you're fit, mind, mentally, spiritually, physically. Like all those three things are important,
Big time.
for a complete person and a complete life. And USA, it's like
Best country in the world.
best country in the world. We're in this
Best country
together.
in
And
the world.
frankly, Matt, it's like over the past couple years, with COVID and all the political division and this
Yeah.
and that, and people arguing, it's like, if anything, we need to come together, right? We need to
Amen.
find that unity,
Yeah.
and the unity's right here, right?
Yeah.
The unity's right here in your heart. So
Amen.
I don't mean to get preachy with this,
It's
but
nothing
it
we
is
don't
like
agree with, brother.
yeah, it's like an inspirational thing for me. So we're going to go out there and I'm putting myself out there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to share what worked for me. And, hopefully there's others that can find some inspiration and some meaning and go get it for themselves,
Dude, honestly, man, That's a beautiful message. And I love to see your passion and your drive. And I'll tell you what, for everyone listening, when you put yourself the critics are endless, right? But I remind myself that the critics are too scared to put themselves out there put themselves out there, right? It is tough. It is so tough, right? Like, dude, were you active on social media before Thick Fit?
Not much. I mean, I
Yeah.
would post a little once in a while,
Dude.
like on
Yeah.
Facebook, or Instagram once in a while, but not really.
Same. That I did was next to nothing. And now you're starting this and you have to undertake this thing, and it does you do get self-doubt sometimes, and it does fill you with what am I doing at times, but you do, when you stay focused and stay on the course, it's really you have to dedicate to the mission and pledge allegiance to the grind. And honestly, man, you're changing your life and you're changing other people's lives. And I love seeing what you're doing, bro. And I'll tell you this, thick is the new fucking in, right?
It is, man.
Thick is it, right? You want to be thick, babe. Tell you what.
You want to be thick.
You want to be thick.
What? You got your arms, chest, neck, hips, thighs, whatever you want. Thick is in.
Thick is in, brother. Thick is in. Thanks to Brendan Shaw.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but dude, thick, no, for sure, man. So, like you said, Thick Fit USA. We're gonna have links to everything in the description of this episode. I highly endorse this and totally want everyone to check it out. It's a great follow. I'll tell you that right now. Great follow. Always posts good stuff. Always has great content. You know what I mean? And I'm just love seeing it. So let's get into this, right? So we talked about, your, where you're at now with the gym and spiritually and everything like that, but it wasn't always that way, right?
Yeah.
You started out like most people, right? You were born in Lansdale at what used to be known as North Penn Hospital. Now I think it's Lansdale, Abington, whatever the hell it's called. It was actually right down the street from the house I grew up in. And then you would grow up in Quakertown, PA, right? And you would do the public school system out there, K through 12, right? And you would go to college and everything like that. But I want to talk about this. So you're in school, you're a kid, and you have when you're a kid, you're I want to be this when I grow up, and I want to be this, right? But at the time, you wanted two things. You wanted to be either the heavyweight champion of the world or a rock star, or both.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, both preferably. Yeah.
How about it? So what was going down back then? What made you want to pick those two things?
Well, I mean, I always had dreams, right? And aspirations. Sure. I would say that I don't know, I had fun. I had fun as a kid. I had really good friends that I still have to this day that I knew from the time I was a little boy, Yeah. And those relationships remain really strong.
Nice.
And, in those formative years, growing up, I was into music. I played sports growing up and things too, but I'm also a drummer. I was playing drums since I was 10 years old.
Oh, nice.
So, I drew to that too, and I liked it, and I was decent at it, and it came to me, and I liked to practice it too. That was another thing, it didn't get old to me. I could just get into it.
Nice.
So I had rock bands and stuff. I was, we played in my 9th grade talent show. We played Pearl Jam Black. Right. So that's when I was in school. That's when Pearl Jam was just coming out. I was into all kind of, classic rock, all kind of music, but we played all types of things. But, I did that. I was in the high school drum line. I did jazz band. I did indoor. So I always loved music. So Rockstar, and I like to have fun. I have friends that was a big thing, who doesn't want to be a rock star, right?
Sure.
In some portion of their life. So I like that. And then I also wanted to box, since the time I was about, 13, 14 years old. It wasn't until
Can I ask, did Rocky have a lot to do with that?
Oh, of course. Rocky, Mike, growing up in the Mike Tyson era,
in the
80s there, just the electricity and the excitement of those fights was unbelievable. And as a kid, I remember watching the pay-per-views and stuff with my dad, and it would be over by the time you went out to get a drink and come back sometimes, right? Inside of one round. Yeah. But just the whole electricity around that was so special. And that's when the heavyweight champion of the world, I think it still does, but especially then growing up, it was
That was it.
That was a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
Like the heavyweight champion of the world was almost like king of the world. Like not
Yeah.
quite, but you know what I mean? Like they had a lot of
It
clout.
was
clout.
it's like one of the biggest draws in the world to be the heavyweight champ.
One of the biggest draws in the world, you know, and to me, like boxing at that point, it was also the ultimate contest, right? It was the ultimate physical contest. It was the most highly trained, you know, best, I don't know if it's best overall athletes, but people
They're
that
up
have
there.
worked the hardest. I mean, they're up there, right?
Yeah.
And the amount of work that it takes to be able to step in that ring, you know, for a heavyweight championship fight is unbelievable, right? Like
Yeah.
very, very few people, you know, can experience or truly understand what it takes to get in there, you know,
Oh,
and
for sure.
and have that moment.
There's no
So-
other sport like boxing.
No.
None
there
other.
isn't.
You know, it's really something, and I was always drawn to it, you know. So I always was drawn to fighters too,
Yeah.
you know, and I would follow them, and you know, Muhammad Ali is like one of my biggest heroes, you know, and I had I was very fortunate to be able to train with Larry Holmes in the late, you know, mid to
Yeah.
late 90s and into the
Yeah.
early 2000s, you know, in his gym.
Yeah.
So like, you know, seeing these people, these, you know, and how they train and what they work for and the level of emotion and what they put on the line each and every time they stepped in that ring, that was like incredibly moving to me. And it's like, man, if there's like a pinnacle of putting it all out there and going
Yeah.
for it and, you know, and being what you can be, it's like heavyweight champion of the world. That ain't a bad goal to have. Right.
Amen.
So
Amen.
that was, so that was something that that I was just drawn to ever since the time I was a kid. But it took me a bunch of years to convince my mom that I wouldn't get killed. You know?
Well, dude, I'll tell you this too. Like you're saying, and I think boxing, especially in you know, during the Klitschko era, the heavyweight division of boxing was what it was. It was they consecutively broke the record for the amount of jabs in a heavyweight fight, right? Like
It came about height.
But it's also just like they, you know, don't get me wrong, the Klitschkos had power and things like that.
Yeah.
They were victims of their own dominance, right? Like it's just like there really wasn't no one to contest them, right? And like they would beat everybody, and they would knock them out, but they weren't like, you know,
But it was the beginning of the 6'5" and up heavyweight champion of the world. Like
Dude,
before that, it was big guys who were 6 foot, who couldn't make weight, who could fight 15 rounds.
Dude,
and then it became the first was the dude who beat Tyson. The British guy.
Oh, Lennox
before
Lewis.
him. Lennox Lewis, yeah.
Lennox Lewis, yeah.
He had the height, and then the Klitschko's, and then from there it was just about who. Because now, like, I'm not taking anything away from Tyson Fury. I love the man, but you know, you got to be 6'7" to fight him.
Yeah, and Tyson Fury's hard too. I mean, he moves. He got that elusiveness, right?
Tough as a coffin nail. This guy.
There's not a 6 foot heavyweight champ taking down Tyson.
Well,
Fury.
so how crazy is this? Is that Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, arguably two of the best of all time, they fought at 212 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, but back then the average human was weighing what, $150. Now the average human is weighing 200. Right. Like it is what it is. It's, I mean, the evolution of the species and everything like that.
That's right.
But dude, I'll tell you, here's something, and I want to shout him out because he's a fan of the show, listener of the show, and I'm a big fan of him. There's a boxer. His name's Steve USS Cunningham. He's a boxer out of Philadelphia. He's one of the top 5 cruiserweights of all time, right? Incredible cruiserweight. And he fought Tyson Fury. It's a controversial knockout what happened, right? Because if you watch it, and it was kind of earlier in Fury's career before he had his transformation, and he's not the, you know, back when he was still the gypsy, you know, he's just fucking gypsying it up all the time. But he knocks him out with a forearm shiver. Right. And the reason he was fighting like that is because he was scared. And he says this to this day, that the hardest he was ever been hit was by Steve Cunningham.
Steve Cunningham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it goes to show you, Steve Cunningham, right? He could make cruiserweight, right? And then he would go up to heavyweight and he would do well, right? And he was always game, and he was a top level guy, and he's a great fighter, right? World renowned, great fighter. But he was also, he's like 6'4", right? He's 220, chiseled, cut out of stone, right? If he's back then, he's fighting the Ernie Lads, and he's fighting the Spinks and the Larry Holmes. Like, you maybe not Holmes, but he's still like, he's their size and he's competitive. And to say like he's 6'3", 2 something, and he's too small for the heavyweight division just shows you where it's at, right? And like if you look at guys like Joshua and look at guys like, you know, fucking the Gypsy King Fury and looks at Wilder, right? Yep. But then it's crazy when you see like a guy like Andy Ruiz fucking going there and fucking let him at it. And who's the guy that there's someone that just beat Joshua too? I forget his name. But,
I forget the guy's name too.
Yeah.
The Polish guy?
Yeah. That's another thing too. Like boxing's been dominated by Eastern Europeans and Russians for fucking forever. You know what I mean? So if you don't have a superstar American, well, I guess, you know, Floyd was a superstar American, but like other, you know, and they had like other guys, Bernard and Oscar and like all that era, and Gotti and Ward, and they had that era. But like honestly,
Gotti hasn't fought since the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, dude. I think he retired in 07. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. No, you're right. But like they do have American guys that they try to push and come up. But like as far as American heavyweights go, I guess Wilder is up there, right? But we found out, you know, it is what it is. But the number one fighter, pound for pound, I mean, like the number one guy, maybe he's not pound for pound, but the number one guy in the world right now is Canelo, and there's no question.
Canelo. Yeah. Canelo's tough.
But dude, like, but what you're saying, boxing's big now, and like it's crazy. But you have to think, like, when you're talking about when you started training, Roy Jones, Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, right? Like, dude, remember Andrew Galata? Andrew Galata's selling 1 million fucking papes. Come on, you know.
Andrew Galata was tough. You know, he and him and the Riddick Bowe. He was so scared of Riddick Bowe. He had to hit him. He had to hit him low twice. Yeah. Right. And twice he had to do that.
He got disqualified for it, right?
He got disqualified. Yeah. Those were tough. He was a tough guy though, you know, and he could hit, and that was a great era. You know, the other thing that I noticed too, back in like the 80s and 90s and like in early 2000s, most of the champions too were American champions. Yeah. You know, you think about it. I mean, even think about like Leonard Hagler, Hearns, right? And Duran.
All through the 80s.
Oh yeah, it was really
even the early 90s, dude. Like you have to think. Dude, you're absolutely right. And like think about it now. The last American to win an Olympic gold medal. Do you know who it was? Andre Ward in Athens.
Really?
Yes. The last American to win an Olympic gold medal in boxing was Andre Ward in Athens.
Andre Ward, huh?
And dude, he's one of the best ever. But like,
Andre Ward's
I would love to see Andre Ward versus Canelo. But yeah. So okay, but let's keep it moving. Sorry, we went out, dude. I could talk boxing on this show all fucking day.
That would be a good one. That would be a special episode.
I would love that, dude, because I kind of considered myself a historian at times, like not super deep, but like, you know, when I was in it and training, like, you know what I mean? Like I was kind of scoping the landscape. And
I was super into it up to like when remember Jermaine Taylor? Like
Jermaine Bad Intentions Taylor.
Right about there, like right when he kind of fell off, like I kind of fell off too. Like I was getting all the pay-per-views and stuff, and then I kind of just faded out. But like guy. Javante Davis, I watched his fight. And I was like, oh, I like.
You know who Terrence Crawford is?
Yeah.
Oh, Terrence Crawford's fucking incredible. Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence. But no, boxing's still great, dude. I'll tell you what. There was this thing, and Taylor kind of fell victim to this. Is that Showtime did this thing? They called it the Super Six tournament, right? Where they took the 6 best super middleweights in the world, right? And dude, this was like, it was Miguel Kessler, Arthur Abraham, Andre Durrell, Carl Froch, Andre Ward, right? And there's one other guy. And Jermaine Taylor, right? And like, dude, everyone's like everyone's like, Arthur Abraham was ranked number 1. Andre Ward was ranked last, right? Andre Ward would end up winning the tournament, but they had like all these guys would fight each other and the winners would go on. Dude, like Jermaine Taylor had a couple knockouts in that tournament that were so like the one, I think it was Froch, where it was like, and I think you wouldn't have won because it was in Nottingham and that's Froch's hometown. But he got knocked out, right? And if you look it up, bro, he fishes out and his arms are straight like this. Dude,
oh man.
Oh, it's scary. It's scary to watch. And remember, dude, remember the best middleweight back in the day, fucking Kelly Pavlik. the fucking ghost.
Kelly Pavlik.
Kelly fucking Pavlik.
Dude,
I
Roy.
fucking loved him.
Roy killed him.
Oh, dude. No, it was Bernard. It was Bernard.
It was Bernard who killed him?
Well, so it was like this, right? Kelly Pavlik was on such a fucking heater, right?
He was.
Like, dude, he knocked out Jermaine Taylor. That was like the biggest upset when he knocked out Taylor, right? Like, who's this goofy looking fucking white boy from Youngstown?
With the back tattoo?
Oh, dude, he was like a dirt stash, right? But like the way he threw his two is that he had like these long arms, and he would do this at the end. He would whip it, right? So
he'd whip it, yeah.
Whip it in,
wow.
right?
Yep.
So when he landed that motherfucker, and he could do it with all his punches, uppercut, the straight two, all of them. He had a good jab. His defense was nice, and he could actually box. But when he landed that fucking thing, went at like on the whip, forget it. He was putting
guys out.
So, dude, he beat Taylor. He had a bunch of good knockouts. He was the number one. Like, dude, he was a Ring Magazine champ. Like, he was on top of the world. He was one of the biggest draws there was. And then he went up to fight Hopkins at so middleweight's 160. So they went up to 168 to fight him at super middleweight. And Hopkins just fucking, dude, he just taught him a fucking lesson in boxing. Hopkins was just, and like, dude, Pavlik was good. And Hopkins even said, if it's at 160, Pavlik wins. But 168, Pavlik was just slower. He didn't have the move. He didn't have the speed. He still had some power, but he's just like, Bernard was just too slick. And then Bernard, fucking forget it. All right. No more boxing talk. Okay. So let's keep it going. So you did soccer. You didn't really like it, right?
Yeah. I wasn't that good at it.
Yeah. You did a little baseball. Baseball's a little too boring, right? But then you played some football too. And I will say this. I love, like, don't get me wrong, I love boxing and everything like that and whatever, and wrestling and whatever. But football's the fucking best, bro. Football is the fucking best. I fucking love playing football. Did you, Chad? Love it?
Yeah, football's fun. So I played in middle school, right? So
yeah,
I played in seventh grade, and I was one of a couple seventh graders that got to play.
Nice.
You know, and I played, I think, center in seventh grade. So I played center, right?
Yeah.
And then I played in eighth grade. I was captain of the team with two other guys, and I played guard. They shifted me over to guard on offense, and then I played cornerback on defense, right? Lineman and quarterback. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, like, how tall are you? What are you, 6'3"?
I'm 6'3". Yeah, I'm 6'3" now. I mean, in like when I was a kid like that, I was probably in eighth grade. I was probably like 5'6", 5'7", something like that. Maybe about 160 pounds, right? Yeah. So I wasn't a small kid, but I wasn't huge, Yeah. And then when I was a freshman, I was like I was 5'10", I think, and like 175 pounds when I was in ninth grade. Yeah. And then from the time I was in ninth grade till my senior year, I grew half a foot and gained 100 pounds.
Oh my gosh. So you became like a freaking hoss. Dude, you poor parents. You must have eaten them at a house and home. My God.
Oh, and I'd have friends over. We'd make sandwiches. I had big loaves of that big crusty Italian bread. Go through a couple pounds of lunch meat and cheese. You know what I'm saying, Matt?
Dude, loved it. Dude, I miss those days so much. Dude, we had a deli in my neighborhood where I grew up, in the 4th Street neighborhood of Lansdale, land of the free, home of the brave. And there was a deli there called Giuliano's Deli. And they made a real Italian that would knock your freaking socks off, man.
Those are good.
Oh, the best, dude. The best. It recently got sold. It was heartbreaking, but it is what it is. Times people move on. But it was like a legit neighborhood corner store, like a house turned into a store, deli. But so either way, let's keep it moving. So you went to school, you did Quakertown K through 12, right? How did you like it there? I know, like, now Quakertown is like a budding metropolis that's growing every day, but back then wasn't the case, was it?
No, it wasn't a budding metropolis. But it was good. Like I had a good group of friends.
Nice.
I was really close with them, and my friends and family were really formative, for me, right? So listen, I wasn't always the best student, in school. I had, other priorities. I like to have fun. I like to raise a little bit of hell, but not too much, sometimes.
You're a rock star. Come on.
Yeah, you're a budding rock star and future heavyweight champ. What are you going to do, right?
You got to raise some hell.
you're going to go out there and mix it up once in a while.
Nice.
But it was good. I had a good, a good
like a
childhood.
Nucleus. Yeah.
Yeah. A good nucleus, a good group of friends, a good core that I'm still,
nice.
Close with to this day. So that's important, and I think that's
Agreed.
another thing, the more that time goes by, the more, the older I get, the more important, you realize how important those relationships and those little things are, right? The little things matter a lot, right?
They're everything. They're absolutely everything.
And those connections and those, relationships, when you are able to, develop a long-term, relationship with somebody that really wants the best for you, and like looks out for you.
Yeah.
Boy, that's like, there's nothing better than that, right?
It's
you hold
gift.
that close if you can. Yeah, it is a gift, right?
It's an absolute gift. But
so I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate in that regard, that I was able to keep a lot of those friendships, maintained, and and I still get to go to the Q Mart once in a while.
I can't talk about Quakertown without bringing up the Q Mart. Fucking the dirt mall.
There's two things about Quakertown. So my brother, we're driving through Quakertown like, I don't know, a month ago, and this flashback hits me as we're driving down 309 and we passed this building. Were you ever in Montana West?
Yeah. I was in Montana West.
This only happened to me like less than a month ago. We're driving down 309. It's no longer Montana West, but I'm staring at this building as we're passing it, and it all hits me. Like I had totally forgot it existed. I totally forgot I had been there.
You blocked
and it all came rushing back. I was like, oh my God, I used to get blacked out in Quakertown. I was like, Jesus, Montana West used to exist.
Montana West used to have. They used to have an underage night where like if you could be like 18 and go there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's Montana West, babe. What happens in Montana West? Oh yeah, dude.
But like the Q Mart also as a child would sell you Zippos at any age, a katana at any age, throwing stars at 12. Like
that might be the best thing about the Q Mart is like the ninja shop there. Like from the time I was a kid, I would get like the throwing blades. I got these throwing knives, and I still remember the tree that I stood in front of for hours, throw after throw after throw. I got it. But that throwing stars, they had the blow guns. I wanted to go. There was a movie, some ninja movie from the 80s, right? Yeah. Revenge of the Ninja, something like that. That might be it. But I remember he had like a grappling hook, like it was a rope tied to this steel hook with like 3 or 4 prongs coming off of it. Yeah. And I wanted to get that sucker. And I said, Dad, I need a grappling hook. He's like, you're not getting a grappling hook. It's like, why do you need a grappling hook? I'm like, I want to climb. I want to throw it in the tree and climb the tree. You saw how that ninja does it. He goes, listen, Chad, you're going to throw that in that tree one time, and then I'm going to have to go up there and get that. And that's going to be the end of the grappling hook. So that fell short, but I got the throwing blade. So that's a plus.
Remember the race track they would have? If anybody's ever been to the Q Mart, remember I one time got really high before going to the Q Mart and I got trapped in the racetrack. Like I was just locked in. I was like, the red car is fucking winning this. Dude, I like loved it. I was like, they're like, you want to try? I was like, no, you gentlemen.
You don't even want to try. You're just watching the red car.
Dude, I just had money on the red car.
The electric car thing changed the game.
It hypnotized me.
I would take my kids there, when they were younger, and we'd go and we'd get cars. And, you'd go and it would be fun for a little while and they'd go a little bit too fast, and the car would skip off the track and then I'd have to be there to monitor it and then go reset it.
Sure.
Well, that lasted about 3 times, and then after like time 3, I would say, hey, you want to go to the Q Mart to race cars? And my boys would look at me like this. Not today, Dad. I'm like, all right, so we're gonna have to find the next adventure then.
Yeah. They're like, Dad, it's 2015. Like, come on.
Yeah, they're like, listen, I got that times 10 up in my room here, with my game. Right?
Yeah. It's the same one you played with as a kid, Dad. Come on.
It's the same one, right? Yeah. Exactly, Dad.
It is the same one.
I had
it's wild.
Oh yeah, dude. Back then, or back in the day, do you guys remember Stackers? The pill, the weight loss pill. They had
Stacker 2s, like the little yellow ones. Yeah.
So they sold Stacker 2s, and they had ephedra in them, right? Which is illegal, but it wasn't legal back then. And like my buddy would go to Q Mart, and like at some places you had to be like 8, like you get them at the gas station, but some places you had to be like 18, but Q Mart, it didn't matter. And like during wrestling season, we went through like maybe like, I don't know, 30 bottles that were like, you know, like they had like however 90 in a bottle or whatever it is. Dude, we like, and like it wasn't just me, it was me and the whole team were cutting weight, you know.
That's right.
There's a bunch of 15-year-olds jacked up on amphetamines.
Oh, dude, we were all
up on Stacker 2s.
Oh, we're all whacked up on Stacker 2s, having like massive mood swings. You know what I mean? And like not eating. Oh, dude, my mom was like,
you feel that nervous energy buzz from that stuff, right?
Oh, dude, the anxiety was through. And the come down off of that. Don't want any part of it. But dude, the Q Mart's a strange place. Real quick though, I'm gonna cut this. Do you know the Calabrias at all? What part of Quakertown? Oh, you do?
I know Vince Calabria.
You know Vinny? Calabria. Vinny's my cousin.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's
my cousin Vinny.
Get the heck out of here. So he's a couple years older than me, but I know Vinny. Like I don't know if you, him and Zach Diamond and a couple other guys. There were, like they were, when did he graduate? 94?
Maybe.
93 or 94, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I graduated in 96. So I was in school with him, but I think maybe only for like, he was a couple years older than me. But that's your cousin.
Yeah. Did you know his sister Lolita at all? She was a couple years. Yeah, either way. But yeah, it's nice, man. All right. We've had a couple Quakertown people on the show, and I always ask, and you're the first one that knows them. So nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. So when I share this when he sees this on, because he's a fan of the show, listener to the show, when he sees this on Facebook, he'll get tickled pink, and then he'll want to be, you know, he'll want to be one of the millions and millions that wants to be on the show. So
that's exactly right.
That's it, brother. So, okay. So let's keep it moving. So like we said, you did some baseball, didn't like it, soccer, football, loved it, you did well. And then always had boxing on the mind, always wanted to be a rock star, but also you were so there was a year that you had to take off from sports, right?
Yeah.
And then in that year, you're like, okay, I'll take off some sports, but I still got to do something, right? So what happened then?
Yeah, so I had this thing in my knees that required me to, the doctor suggested I lay off sports for like a year, or I could have like cast on my legs from my ankle to my hip, you know, on both. So I just said, we'll just lay off sports for a year. Yeah. And that was fine.
Oscar Slaughter?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're familiar with it.
So I had a real mild. I'm only 6'1", but like if you're tall, you've had it. So you get these little bubbles in your knees, and they fucking hurt, yo. Man. So my high school football, or my like middle school football coach, like he'd look at me like I was a 40-year-old man. I'd be, dog, my knees hurt so. He's like, you're young, get out there. And I'm like, you don't understand, yo. Like I went from 5'6" to 5'9" this month. Like my fucking legs hurt.
Yeah. I'm telling you, same thing.
Leave me alone.
It was, and it's tender. It was so tender. I remember just like like running, it would kill.
So
like,
I didn't have it that bad. They didn't offer me cast or anything, but they would give me these fucking knee braces, and they give you this fucking cream to put on your legs to help them fucking.
Do not.
Like, and my mom's just like, your legs hurt. You're getting tall. I'm like, oh my god, woman. Get my laundry. I'm like, I can't walk up the stairs. I'm only 16.
That's right. I'm only 16. I can't walk up the stairs. Two knots is right.
Dude, I'll tell you.
51-year-old man, leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's right. Let that sucker rest, right? Let that rest. But yeah, so same thing. I had that big growth spurt, you know, and then I laid off the sports for a year, and this is like going into 9th grade. So I was always a drummer, and I just stuck with drums, you know. So then I was in band, you know, for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and I was cheering on the football players, you know, beating my drum with the other bandos back there, and it was a great experience, you know.
Dude, that's one thing I wish. Like, I'm so tone deaf, right? And I hate it. I wish, like, I've tried to play instruments, and I've tried to, like, you know, listen to a song, and I can't get it. You know what I mean? It's just a thing. Tone deaf as hell. But like, I really wish that maybe when I was younger, and like, I wish it now. Back then, didn't want anything to do with it. But I could have played an instrument like piano. I would have loved to be able to play piano or something. But or harmonica. Love to be able to do a little harmonica. Oh, but
get a little blues action going. You know what they say, Matt? It's never too late.
Never.
They say it's never too late. It might be hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but it's never too late.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong. But it's whenever my daughter's asleep, it's quiet time, so I'm not taking any instruments. But,
True.
But so when did you start playing the drums?
So I was 10. I guess I was in 4th or 5th grade. 5th grade, I think, when I really got serious about it. So, I started playing when I was 10.
Yeah.
And then all through then. And, I was, I like jazz. I like music. Like, music's just a big part of my life. Like, there's something that, speaks to me with it. So, I always kept into it. And that part, like, I took piano lessons when I was a kid. Like, my mom she made me take piano when I was like,
great parenting.
Yeah, 8 years old. It was good, but I didn't love it. I didn't like practicing. That was the thing. I didn't like practicing the piano. It didn't come to me as naturally. Yeah. But when I was introduced to drums, I started that just came more naturally, and I was more interested in it, so I would practice more, and I was kind of into it, and I picked it up
like banging shit.
Yeah, right? Banging on stuff. Yeah, crash, bang, right?
Yeah.
There's something about that rhythm that I like too, So I just kept going with that, and I was in the jazz band and the indoor drum line, and the outdoor marching band. And
did your parents accept the drumming?
Oh, great question.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'm one of 5 boys. The youngest is a redheaded child, younger than all of us. The instrument he chooses, drums, of course. In the basement, throughout the whole house, all 4 of us. He just walks upstairs and we're all just staring at him like, do you want to get beat up or pick a different instrument?
Yeah, it's a tough one. That's a tough one, especially for the youngest.
The other question I have for you, while I'm on topic, Quakertown, John Papa. Have you ever ran into John Papa in Quakertown?
I have not. Friends
Traveler?
of mine have. Yeah, Blues Traveler. Yeah, I have not. He used to hang out at this place called the Raven's Nest. It's like a bar in Haycock Township by us, like in the woods. And they would have like an open mic night and stuff, or an open jam session, and guys would just come.
I used to deliver.
What?
Wait. You
Wait.
didn't know John Papa from Blues Traveler was always like up in Quakertown area?
Yeah, John Papa. He had
around
when the hook brings you back.
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah,
dude, really? The big dude.
So, he's big.
That bar, I used to deliver a guy. I used to deliver oxygen to a guy nearby that bar. Yep. Yeah, Papa used to be in there all the time.
He used to be in there. I never saw him, in there during like an open mic night, but I know he used to be there. Yeah. And he used to have a place like not too far from me, like where I live now, like right down the street. And I think he sold that a couple years ago. At least that's the word,
Okay.
But I don't know if he's still in the area or not. But he was here for a long time. He would go and jam with guys.
Yeah.
Is he the most famous person ever from Quakertown, you guess?
In my opinion.
I don't know, probably.
I don't know who else is from there, but I mean, if you're better than John Papa,
he's like the John Oates. John Oates is from Lansdale, from Hall and Oates. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
Johnny Oates. But yeah, so nice.
Shout out Vladimir. Yeah,
nice. Those two, Hall and Oates, are another two incredible. Pair of musicians.
The best. So good. So, okay, nice. So let's keep it going. So you're drumming out, you're doing your thing, right? You had to take a year off for Oshkosh Slaughters. Then you're really getting into drums. You're hanging out in the band. You're doing your thing. We had another person on the show that was in the band in high school. And we talked about this where, band kids, there's a stigma comes along with being in the band, right? But I'll tell you what, they're
band nerds.
Band nerds. From what I've heard, right, the band kids were having a good damn time, right? It's like, because I know at our school, like the band was nationally ranked when we were there, right? Like I think they were a national champion when we were there, but they were like, dude, it's 300 teenage horny kids plus the color guard, like they're all jammed in on buses, going places. Things are gonna happen, right? I don't know, but
there's a lot of fun that happens in the band.
Band gets a bad rap, right?
People try and hate on band, but band was low key a party.
Band was low key a huge party.
Yeah, band knows how to have fun too. That's for sure.
Yeah, right.
That's for sure. That's no myth.
No, Heck no. I bet you +2, you had like the hot nerdy chicks. Oh my God. Anything better? Forget about it. So, okay. So nice. So you would end up graduating from Quakertown, right? You would go from there and then you would go to Kutztown University, right?
Yeah.
But to get
Golden Bears.
Golden Bears. Is that right?
Yep. Kutztown Golden Bears, baby. That's right.
Nice. So to even get into Kutztown, didn't you have to do something to get in there? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I had to go to like a developmental summer program, which is good because my grades weren't the best in high school, and even in the senior yearbook where everybody talks about what they're going to do. Jane Smith is going to go to Moravian to study post-secondary education. She's going to be a teacher, and so and so is going to go to University of Pennsylvania to study accounting, and right. It says Chad Kilhefner would like to go to Kutztown, right? So it was like a wish, it was like a wish, an aspiration, even then, right?
Yeah.
So, but I did. So I went and I did this summer program, and this thing that I went through, only I think it was 1 out of 3 kids that are in this program wind up graduating. So I was one of the fortunate ones, So I went through it and I did that, and at the same time, I also marched drum corps for the start of that summer. With the Reading Buccaneers. So that was cool, but I couldn't finish that season because I had to go to college, and live there, and attend class Monday through Friday, and be there. So
what's the Reading Buccaneers?
The Reading Buccaneers is a drum and bugle corps. So it's like band plus, it's like the good people from the band, and stuff. Horns, it's not woodwind instruments, so it's horns, bugles.
No one likes those woodwind guys anyway, right?
Yeah, brass and drums, right? So that's like a more competitive type of circuit, and they travel all around and they compete against each other and all kinds of stuff like that. So that was cool, and I wound up, and I was still involved in music and stuff, but I couldn't finish that season with the Reading Buccaneers. So I was in college, and I made it through that summer program, and then I graduated. And, through that, I did decent, in college. And then I was part of this Chi Alpha Epsilon National Honor Society. That was 4 kids, one of the criteria were kids that were in this program and other kids that maybe, didn't do the best previously, but got it figured out, So I was able to do that and graduate and major in business. And I found that. So that was a saving grace.
Yeah, comeback player of the year award, right?
Comeback player, comeback player of the year, maybe.
Yeah, a little Drew Brees action. Love it.
Yeah,
nice.
That's right. That's right.
Quick question about the band, right? So this is what I want to ask. So if you go on a job site, right, like for construction, you'll ask the carpenter, you'll ask the electrician, you'll ask the mason, you'll ask all those guys who runs the site. And they all say, oh, the electricians run the site. Oh, no. And then the carpenter's going to say, oh, no, the carpenters run the site. And then the mason's like, oh, no, the masons run the site over here. And then the plumbers are like, we run this site, right? So as far as band goes, right, who's who's the BSD in the band?
Oh, you know the answer to that.
Is it the drums?
The drum line.
Oh,
the drum line.
The drums are just letting it hang
out. They hold it together.
Yeah.
They hold it together. That's the crew. That's the drum line. There's the band, and then there's the drum line. The drum line has their own. The drum line has their own awards at the end of the competition. That's drum. I mean, color guard does too, but that's for its own reasons.
Right.
And those are but you have the drum line is the glue.
Nice. And then what's the adverse of that? Who's like all right, clarinets, go take a walk or something, like who's the group that's just like, all right, hey, tubas, cool it. The triangle.
Now listen, the tubas might be it. The tubas I got empathy for. I mean, they're carrying those big metal apparatuses all over. They're getting lugged down by those things. They only got a couple notes at a time. Boom, 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 boom. Right. So I mean, that's like a whole different thing.
You need
that. I'm telling you, they're earning their pay, which they ain't getting. So it's good. Those tubas, the sousaphone's the other giant monster.
Yeah. What is the deal? Like, I mean, the tuba. What is the appeal? I don't
it's dope.
But I mean, I guess it looks.
It's not for me, but I appreciate the tuba, but I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not playing it. I'm not signing up to play the tuba. But there's people in society who got to play the tuba. Somebody's got to play the tuba.
Somebody's got to play the tuba. Just like somebody's got to play the little piccolo. Things this big, right?
Yeah.
They're playing little piccolo.
Yeah, but like you hear
somebody's got to play the right
violin.
field. Somebody's got to play the line. Somebody's got to play the tuba.
Hey, dude, the line is in the trenches, babe. All right, it's where the heavy lifting gets done.
The line doesn't get respect until you hit once you hit over 200 pounds, then you get respect in the line. When you're 160 playing right guard, it's because you're not good.
That's different.
Dude,
that's different,
dude. But no, but you hear a violin solo, even a flute could crack out a solo every once in a while. Clarinet can throw something down and some jazz. But is there like a tuba solo? Like you never, because it's always like
it's rare.
But
it's rare. It's rare. Trombone, maybe. Trumpet, definitely. Trumpet, you hear trumpet solo.
Sax. Is there saxophones in the band?
Yeah, there are. Jazz band, though, is where they'll get their day. Usually. Jazz. Yeah, you got that John Coltrane style. Yeah, I mean, you got that raspy. Yeah. Jazz is where a lot of the saxophones will get their day. But sometimes during the outdoor season too, but mostly it's going to be brass instruments, the trumpets, the drum line.
Yeah, so that's really the tuba's only time to shine. You
got to go after it. You got to get it while the getting's good.
Yeah, nice. So, dude, I'll tell you this: I do love a beautiful violin solo. I will fucking melt for a violin.
Oh, it can make you cry if it's done right.
God, the violin, just So, all right. So we're going. So you're at Kutztown. You're there.
Yep.
You're living the life. You're comeback player of the year, killing it, everything like that. So when you're there, right? What was your focus on as your major?
So when I first joined college, and signed up, I mean, the only thing I wanted to do was box, right? Yeah. So I started. My dad found Larry Holmes' gym.
Yeah.
I started going to Larry Holmes' gym my freshman year, the beginning of my freshman year in college. That was 96.
Nice.
And it's out there in Kutztown?
No. Yeah. It's in Easton, right? So it's so I had my car out there. It was like a 50-minute drive, each way. So what I would do is I would drive to the gym 2 or 3 days a week, during the semester. Yeah. I would go there, I would train. And then coming home in the summer times, and when I was off, I would work construction for my brother as my first job, and then I would train every day and have an amateur fight, or two during the summertime, right? So I did that through my time through college. But I'll tell you, wanting to box and give that a try, and taking that seriously, it kind of reformed my whole life and priorities, so I did better in school. I went to class. Yeah. I made sure I do those things, to give it a good go, let's say. Right. Yeah. So I made up my mind to do that then. And I'm glad I did, because it changed a lot of things, with myself, how I thought, and what I was able to accomplish. Yeah. Oh yeah. So that was a benefit, that was a blessing. Right.
Dude, 1,000%. I was in a bad place, and I randomly ran into Matt. I boxed with him for a year, and it changed my shit around.
Changed his life. Tell you, deceivingly fast, this guy, Justin. All right.
I do want to do jiu-jitsu. I will get there. I just find a day in a week, but I haven't wrestled sober in 15 years. I haven't ever really wrestled other than my brother, who was a damn good wrestler. But I wrestled him my whole childhood.
Justin is deceivingly fast. When we would train, so Renzo Gracie's used to have 2 locations, right? They had the location that that you've been to, and then they had a second location that was in Norristown, right? And it was a split location because Rich, this guy, he had Taekwondo there. So they did Taekwondo, and then I would teach a boxing class there, right? And we had a good crowd, we built it up, and it was really just stations, and maybe 8 people would show up, and I just beat the piss out of them for a while. And,
you just smack the shit out of me.
But I would
never keep my hands up.
I would do this.
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
Long for me to figure that out.
You got it.
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
I always warn people. I would tell them, look, if you don't do it, I'm gonna learn you real quick. You know what I mean? So it happens. People get it. But we used to do this thing where I had a drill. It was a drill where like you would have to run up and back. Like, so we're on the mat. You'd have to run up and back is one, right? And let's say it's like 40 yards, right? One way. So you're running like 80 yards, right? Or maybe, but you'd have to run up and back is one. You'd have to do that 6 times in a minute. And if you didn't get it, you'd have to do it again. Right?
Oh man.
Bro. But like the only one that could keep pace with me at the time. And I was like I was having like 6 fights a year at the time, like in camp.
You were in shape.
I was fucking just killing it. Right. And like Justin was the one that was like, I'm like, what? I'd be like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? But yeah,
he stayed right there with you.
Oh, dude, sometimes he would even beat me. He's just deceptively fast, this guy. But yeah, no, you dude, it would change your life. And I'll tell you this, and we've said this on the show, there's a saying about wrestling is that wrestling is training for the rest of your life, right? And boxing is very much in the same category because after you do boxing training and things like that, you realize like, oh, my homework, oh, this fucking class, oh, whatever. It just isn't that difficult in comparison to something you've already been through.
The other thing,
like the hard training.
I didn't box for years. And then when I was sitting on the couch for a year feeling like shit about myself, I just went out. Actually, I didn't even go out. I got my girlfriend to buy me a jump rope. And then I started in the backyard jump rope to the point where there's a patch of grass now missing in my backyard. And it takes a day, like the first day, because I do it without shoes on. So you start whacking your toes and you're like, I used to be good at it. And then 15 minutes later, you're like, oh, I'm nice.
Yeah.
It comes back. Right. And you're like, oh, I got this.
It comes back. Yeah. That's awesome. You still jumping rope?
No, I haven't done it in like 2 months now, and I'm gonna sit here the rest of the night thinking about I should jump rope tomorrow.
Justin, come on to the gym. Come on to the gym. We'll take care of you.
I'll get my ass up there. My mom lives right down the street. I can stay there.
Yeah, dude, that's right. It's the best, man. It changed your life. You can't, but like, you know, there's no. I mean, you can still party and stuff, but it really just cuts back. Like, it just makes you focus on like, because you get competitive with yourself, and it's a healthy competitive.
That's right. I smoke cigarettes. I'll smoke anything you hand me. So like I get in that same mode where I start exercising and I start smoking less and less. And then I find myself making better habits, making better choices.
Yeah.
Yep. The little decisions get better, right? The little decisions get easier because you get in that path. And you start thinking, you start noticing how your body feels, and you start to do things that make you feel better, right? Or you do less things that make you feel worse that you know you're going to suffer for later or the next day, right?
You sit around, you can smoke a pack of cigarettes if you don't do anything all day. But if I go to the gym for an hour, that's an hour I'm not smoking. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, it's you know, it all boils down to if I'm filling my time with better things, I don't miss it.
Plus, man, like you're not drinking the night before a hard training session, or if you do, you're fucking bozo.
You pay for it.
Oh, you pay for it.
You're gonna feel it, right? You're gonna feel it You're gonna feel it the next day. That's for sure. You're gonna feel your wind. Your muscles are gonna be more fatigued, right? You're just gonna feel that. Yeah.
Nothing worse than like when you like say you have a guy like you dominate usually and like you beat. And then like you partied the night before and come back in and he's mopping the floor with you. You know, you're like, God, just give me a break, guy. Come on. But yeah, that shit happens. But all right, so let's keep it moving. So you would take like when you're at Kutztown, you're majoring in business, you would take a finance course, right? Yeah. Where you would have this, you know, this professor, he dropped this philosophy on you that really kind of stuck with you. Can you kind of talk about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I didn't really know what I wanted to major in until I took business courses, and I was intimidated by all this stuff. Like I had no idea about investments, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, anything like that. You know, it was all foreign. It was all foreign to me. It wasn't conversation at the dinner table. My parents didn't really know about it, you know, so So I took this course in personal finance, and my professor, Dr. Kramer, you know, he taught us this $1 a day lesson. And he said that if all of us started saving as little as $1 a day from the time we were in that classroom at 20 years old, roughly, right? And we did that consistently without fail. So no matter what came up, you kept doing that and you didn't touch it. So if you needed to buy a car, your car broke down, you needed to fix it, you didn't touch it. If you needed to get married, if something came up and you needed to buy a house, any type of major expense, right? You just didn't. This was off limits. You saved for that elsewhere, and you just kept going with this, regardless of what else was happening. If you were able to, by the time you would retire, you'd retire a millionaire. Right, $1 million. And I thought, like, my gosh, like, first I didn't believe it. It's like, really? Like, what do you mean? Right? I didn't know any millionaires. And like $30 a month, $50, $100 a month, right? Most people can afford that, I thought. Like most people, if like they really prioritized and they really watched where their money was going and what they were spending on and how much if they managed it a little bit, most people could save that amount. And it was just like it was a time value money like calculation, and he used like like a stock fund, like an index fund, just something that's available to anybody that would want to invest, anybody, right? It's there. It's not for the exclusive. It's not for quote unquote, just rich people. It's for you. It's for me, right? Yeah. You could do that. And I just thought, my goodness, well, why don't more people know about this? And why aren't there more people that can kind of retire, and think about that and reach that? And to me, it wasn't about being rich. It wasn't about being a millionaire or anything like that. It was that you have it in your power to be kind of financially independent. Like most people have that within their realm, if they start early enough and keep discipline to do that. So that got me interested in personal finance and investments and, pursuing a career in that area in financial services as a, financial professional, financial advisor, consultant, things like that. So that really changed my my perspective on a lot of things. And now I'm still in touch with my professor. We still communicate and do some things. And he's like, yeah, Chad. He's like, and I told him this story. I'm like, Dr. Kramer, like, this is the reason I, do like I chose the path I did was largely because of that lesson and and I told him how much that meant to me. And he said, yeah, Chad. He's like, I still teach that lesson. He's like, now it's a $3 a day lesson. Different times, different returns he uses, and things like that. But even so, the point's still there. Call it $100 a month, let's say. A lot of people could do that, or $100 a paycheck, even. Over time. And if you get a little increase, you put a little bit more away. Or a little bit more, and over time, you start building that up, and you can have options, right? You have options, financial options that are out there. So that was just mind blowing to me. And then the more I learned about that subject, the more interested I was in it. And decided to pursue a career in that area.
Man, that's great. Now, honestly, that's a great teacher. Like the amount of people he's influenced, and like that's something that like that's what makes the world a better place. Things like that, and that's awesome, honestly. And I think we talked about this during the pre-show. Is that I like would have loved to have a finance class when I was coming up, like in high school. And I know that they're doing that now, and it's really more geared towards like kids that are athletes and things like that, to be like, hey, just get your finances ready. If you go to the league or whatever, you don't want to be shit out of luck because, you don't know what to do with your money. Right. And I'm kind of happy that they're doing that. That's something I would have freaking loved to have available, but
absolutely for everybody. Yeah. Right. Like for everybody, it should be a staple, because everybody has to deal with that. Like regardless of what your opinions are about money, whether it's the best thing ever or the root of all evil, like you need it to live. And you needed to buy the things that you need to live, and you needed to, live the life that you want and support the life that you want, I guess is a better way to say it. Plus,
you got like if you have people that are dependent on you, i.e. your children, right, or your spouse or whatever it is, or your significant other, like you need to know, like this is something that you're going to have to be knowledgeable of, and it's better to know and not get screwed down the line. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So,
and it's intimidating for a lot of people too. I know it was intimidating for me because there's so much out there, and so many. And one thing I've learned is there is no magic bullet, right? There is no magic formula. Like there is, there's not a get rich quick, scheme that works reliably.
Absolutely
right?
not.
But slow and steady can win the race, and that's a good strategy, and it's something that's within all of our grasps.
Did you take him up on that, saving the $1 a day since then? Did you do it?
I've been saving for retirement since I've been working.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah,
good on you, man.
Yeah, well, the first thing I did was open my retirement accounts. Open an IRA, open a 401k, and just start putting something in there. And then,
dude, 401k, best thing.
I used to talk to my mother. Well, I discussed it with my family at some time about financial responsibility, and then my mother explained to me that no one in our family has made it past the age of 55.
yeah.
She's like, you can save for whatever you'd like to save for, but just know that nobody's made it past 55. My mother has actually broken the record at 56, but she does have a bad heart, and it won't be very long.
Great,
but she broke the record.
My uncle Bill was actually the first male in the recorded history of my family to go past the age of 60, and he's still kicking it. Yep, and he's a fan of the show, listener of the show. Uncle Bill, I'd love to have you on the show.
Uncle Bill.
Uncle Bill. Bless you, Uncle Bill. Vietnam vet, Uncle Bill, right? And he's one of these guys that the place he works at, he started unloading trucks on the docks at the place he worked at, and now he's the vice president of the company. So
God bless you, Uncle Bill.
This goes to show, awesome. Uncle Bill, fucking, he's the man too. I fucking love Uncle Bill. So shout out, fan of the show, listen to the show. So okay. So let's keep it moving. So let's get into some jobs, right?
Yep.
So, did you start? So your brother, right? Your brother's a number of years older than you, right?
Yeah, he's 8 years older than me.
8 years older. So he's been the coolest dude in town your whole life, right?
Oh yeah.
Like that's pretty awesome. Like, I mean, me and my brother were almost like Irish twins, right? But and for those listening that don't know, Irish twins are children that are born 9 months apart because Irish people procreate like rabbits. I know, super racist. Get off my back. But either way, me and my brother are almost Irish twins, and so we're really close in age, and we are really close. But your brother, being 8 years older than you, he like when me and my brother were coming up, we fought like freaking cats and dogs all the freaking time. But if your brother's 8 years older than you, there's like some competitive stuff, but he's more like you're looking up to him and everything he says, you just think he's cool, and you're always doing the things he does and all that stuff. What was that like having a brother that much older than you?
Well, it was great. I mean, he played football and wrestled, and he was strong, and he had friends. Like, he was my hero. Still is. In so many ways. And like, I don't know if we fought. I lost. It's very one-sided. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very, very one-sided when your brother's 8 years older than you.
Yeah.
But then, it's to have, he had my back, right? And that was so neat, to see. And then to see him like go, he was actually the first one in our family to go to college. He actually dropped out his senior year to start his business, which he still, has up and running today. Right.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was the first one that graduated from college out of my like immediate family,
Nice.
But it was just that whole thing of watching him, start something, believe in something, go after it, accomplish things as a student athlete and go on to be a business owner and all of those types of things. Like I learned, so much from him and still do. To have that in my life was like very formative, very, very formative. And I'm appreciative of that.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
That's awesome. You have such a great role model.
Did you have something like that, Justin? Because we've said, you're one of 30.
Yeah, I have 3 older brothers, but they're all animals. So, I learned nothing other than how to stay out of jail.
Yeah.
That could be a good lesson too. That's a very good lesson.
I mean, they're all now like, close to decent members of society, but for the most part, like, I mean, I know I have very many street lessons, but I don't know how to open a business or save for my 401k.
Right. That's stuff you can learn coming out.
Those things we can learn too. Yeah. The street knowledge is really important and underestimated a lot of times too.
I can get you an unlicensed gun if you'd like.
That's not the opinion of the Working Perspectives podcast of Force Productions LLC. So, but no, your older brother actually runs his own business. Dave, we shouted him out earlier.
Oh yeah,
Dave,
he does. Yeah, I worked with him this morning. I mean, he's a respect. He is. So if you're Irish twins, he's my stepbrother, but we're 3 months apart.
Right.
So his father married my mother. If it wasn't for our friendship, odds are my parents wouldn't still be together. But we get along quite well with the same age.
Yeah.
He runs a landscaping business, hardscaping. We put it in a patio today.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
we will shout him out. He's a fan of the show, listener to the show, Tremble Landscaping. Shout him out. Great work, great follow on all social media platforms. Dave Billick, great dude. Fan of the show, listener to the show. So, all right, so let's keep moving. So, like you said, your brother has a construction company. So, was that your first real job, like working for him? So, how old were you when you started working there?
I mean, 18. So that was my first real job.
And you're just like the site gopher, right? Like you're
I'm the scrapper. Scrapper, Matt. They call him the scrapper. The guy that you send to the job site to just do whatever needs to be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like there was one like one of the times I knew we were doing a shopping center down past Montgomeryville. Okay. And like one of the walls was built in the wrong spot. Right. Ooh. So concrete block. Right. So that was a mess up. I mean, that cost them money, and everything, but they had to knock down like a huge building, like the whole concrete wall. Yeah. So there was a pile, I mean, it had to be 20 feet high, of like busted up cinder blocks, in concrete. Yeah. And you got to move it from there to the dumpster that's on the other side of the site. Right. And, and it's like, well, do you have like, okay, is there like wheelbarrows?
No.
Shut. You got these.
Yeah. Right? These are your wheelbarrows.
Yeah, this is it. Okay, so good. So you have that. So that was one job, but it was like, different things like right away. It's like, okay, well, like this is like 8 hours. It's going to take a couple days just to move through that pile, And then you got another job and another job and another job. So like that was a lot of that was good hard work. And then you get in and you get with some of the carpenters and you learn some of the other things about framing and drywalling and stuff like that. So you actually see something come together, and it was interesting too to see the dynamics of you're talking about the plumbers, the concrete guys, the carpenters and drywallers, the ceiling and painting, and to see how that whole dynamic. I mean, that's a whole nother thing, to see how that works in real time in real life. That was a learning experience as well.
I bet.
And then
keep going.
And then I got to a point. I guess 2 or 3 summers in, I started delivering supplies to job sites. I drove the truck, so I would drive the truck, and that was kind of cool. I listened to Howard Stern and classic rock and on MMR and things like that, and I'd have I'd load it up with ceiling tiles and drywall and go from job site to job site and be able to deliver it, and unload it and talk to the guys and stuff. So that was a bit of a different experience, there too. So it was interesting. It was hard work. I appreciated learning everything about, how that business operates. Right. But I also knew that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life too. So that was another good learning experience.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah. +2, man. That's that, like we said, and I think we said it in the pre-show, it's like you learned like what you didn't want to do, but you were taught a skill. You got some hard work ethic in. Carrying those cinder blocks gave you some heavy hands that I can attest to are there. Like it's it was, dude, that's a great place to learn and work and also see like what hard work is, because those guys can work. Like I've said this before on the show, and I didn't know about this office life before. I'm still relatively, I've only been working in an office for 5 years, right? Okay. So I'm relatively new to the office scene. Office politics, something I really didn't know about, right? Like, all these things. But when so when I got to I'm in the office doing these things, I didn't know what PTO was, found out what that was. Absolutely incredible. Right. Right. But then also, like, if you're working at a job site, right? If you're working at a job site, or you're working at like a plumber, electrician, or like even like if you're a bartender or waiting tables or whatever it is, right? Every day you go to work, you're working, right? There's no like, oh God, I'm just gonna do nothing today, or I'm not gonna do shit. Yeah. When you work in an office, and I don't do this. This is just what I've been told. But there's some people, believe it or not, that will go into an office and say like, I ain't doing shit today, right? I'm just going to fuck on my phone all day. You know what I mean? And like, I'm just going to be a jerk on my phone and do nothing, right? So not me, and I know you guys wouldn't do that either. But there's no doing that in construction. Go ahead, Justin.
A previous job before I had an office job where as you find, the higher you move up in the office, this is the first office job I had, the higher you move up, the less you're monitored. Got to a point where I had my own office, and once I had my own office, I would bring my PlayStation in. It would be in the bottom drawer of my desk. I would connect it to my computer monitor, which had no sound, but you could connect Sony headphones to your PlayStation, and I would put them on my lap on full volume, which would be just loud enough that I could hear it. And I could keep my hands down. I could play PlayStation on my desk, on my computer monitor. People would come into my office, and everything would be on my lap. I could take a full conversation with somebody, tell them what to do, and then continue playing Metal Gear Solid 5 at the bottom of my desk.
Yeah, I all figured out, didn't you, Justin?
Oh,
yeah. I had a basketball net on the back of my door, and I was smudging the walls. And the cleaning staff sent an extra bill to like my boss. Like, we had to fucking clean the walls, and he calls me, he's like, what is this wall cleaning bill in your office? I'm like, I don't know, it gets smudgy, the drivers come in here, they lean against the wall,
Did you ever like lock the door and be like, I'm not open for business today?
Oh, so I mean, that's where it started. Where I took it goes much. I mean, I took it to like 3-hour lunches.
Yeah.
It goes from there.
I started golf. So that was done in Delaware County. I started golfing, like the local golf course into my name. Like,
oh man. And why did you leave that job?
I didn't.
Oh,
yeah. All of a sudden one day they sent somebody to monitor the warehouse. It's like, I monitor the warehouse. And he was like, well, I'm gonna help. I was like, they figured out I don't do anything all day.
Yeah. Well, you got a new job now and you love it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nice. So, okay. So let's keep it moving. So, all right. So you're doing construction, and I'll tell you, you learn a lot. You're working with grown ass people at these job sites. Like you're working with real men and women at these places, and you're learning stuff. But you would go from there to kind of like the same role the same industry you're in now, right? And so how did you get your start? What were you doing at first? And then let's go up the line from there. So what was your entry level position at?
Yeah. So after I graduated from college, I was looking I knew I wanted to help people with finances. Yeah. Right. So I started applying for jobs as a financial advisor. And I got a job with a company in Allentown as a financial advisor that's no longer there. Okay. And that was a good experience. I mean, I was there for about a year. And before I joined the company I'm at now, but I was there for a year, and that was good because one, you had to a lot of your experience is based on your manager, the guy or gal who runs the place, and what they focus on and how they want you to help people. Do they want you to just sell the latest thing that's going to give them the highest payout, or do they want you to, really learn what's important to somebody and do the right thing and create a plan to help them get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate. Yes. Yeah. So I was fortunate that I had a boss that wanted us to help people, and he taught us to help people and how we do that in that industry, so that was really formative for me. And it taught me that, focusing on what's important to the person across the table from you, your client, is the most important thing, right?
Yes.
It's not important what's going to pay you or what you have to do or what's that's not important. Like, that's the output. What's important is how you help people achieve their goals and objectives, so that was cool. And I went and, like a lot of your business, is tapping your natural market, your friends and family, right? So I wasn't so keen on just, hey, I graduated from college, now I'm a financial advisor. Give me every job you ever worked for, now that I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there was a little bit of that, but I went out to Main Street, Quakertown, going business to business, meeting people and telling, like, I grew up in the area, I'm from the area, I'm staying here, I want to help, and let me learn about you and what's important, and if there's a way that I can help, let me know, right? Yeah. So I did a lot of that, and you did some business there, but it was really good through the local chamber of commerce I joined, Upper Bucks, right? So just being a young guy, meeting these different people, seeing how business, got done at the small business level, was an awesome kind of, experience for me because it opened my mind, and opened my perspective to how work's done and businesses are run in the real world, right? On the small scale too, right in your backyard, right? Where I live.
Gave you a great working perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great working perspective. I like that. Exactly. Great working perspective.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I got an opportunity where a friend of mine worked for the company where I'm at, and asked me if I was still interested there. I said yeah, and I got my resume to him, had an interview the week later, and the job offer the week after that. So I've been there. I've been in different roles there for a bunch of years, for almost 20 years now. So probably 10 different roles, going from entry level up to more senior positions.
So two things. One, we had a guest on the show last week who does something similar as like a financial advisor, but he even stated he's like, his focus, he's not Wolf of Wall Streeting, and he's not like trying to be Johnny Hot Nuts with the stock market and all that gimmick. His whole thing is that he wants to help people with their 401k, with their retirement, like help them, like, so they don't have to bust their ass till they're 80. Right. Like, we had a guest on the show that aired today whose grandmom's 90 and still works every day. You know what I mean? Like that poor old lady. Right. Like like you think about that. And I know right away you're thinking to yourself, like, God, I just love to help her. You know what I mean? Like, but it is, everyone's situation is different and things like that. And I understand. But, the fact that like, because if you like finance is one of those things that I think at least it does have like a bad rap. Right.
Yeah.
And it has a bad rap because of the Wolf of Wall Street guys and because of like big business screws the little man and all this stuff. Right. But there is people generally out there that want to help small businesses, that want to help people with their retirement and their 401k, and that want to help like, like people stuff get like, people get taken care of for the long run. So they're not stuck when they're 70 working at Best Buy and like hating their life. You know what I mean? So it's great. It's great to hear that you're doing that. And then two is when you're going from shop to shop, right? I bet that was more beneficial and educational in how to deal with people and like the actual like bones of what you're doing than anything else. Was that right?
Absolutely. And that's most of what I do. I think that's most of the, especially, finances. I mean, it's a touchy subject. A lot of people don't like talking about it. They're intimidated by it or fearful about it, or they don't want to get, screwed over, or they want a fair deal. You know what I mean? So everybody wants that. So a lot of it is, relationship building, it's getting to know people, it's being real with them, and being straight talk, and being honest, right? That's what it's about. A lot of it's relationship management. And, we say like there's a lot of times when you're playing amateur psychologist, right? Like dealing with people's goals and with what's important to them and their fears about money or about the what ifs, right? Because all that stuff comes up, and you're dealing with something that's really important and really personal. So that's something that good financial professionals, anybody worth their salt, they understand that. They take that really seriously and treat that with care.
Do you have to sign an NDA when working with these people, like a non-disclosure agreement? And
no,
or is it just kind of like an unspoken kind of like, look, I'm not going to discuss your finances with anybody kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like that. It's like I don't act. I don't serve as a financial advisor right now, so I'm not doing those types of things. Having those conversations personally with individuals. But when you enter into a financial planning like arrangement, it's confidential, and what you share with the financial advisor, financial professional, is between you and that person, right? Yeah. So those are very. It's kind of like like you're talking to a medical professional or something that's between you and the medical practitioner, right?
Yeah.
It's your personal situation, and they're providing a diagnosis and different solutions, right? Different remedies, to help you. So it's similar, needs analysis, talking about what's important. There's a diagnosis, a plan on an action plan on how we get from here to there successfully. And then there's a plan of implementation, of monitoring. And it's all part of a thing that's not just a whim. It's not, hey, invest in this and you're going to, make a lot of money.
Yeah.
If I would say, if that's what you're hearing in your first meeting,
then see it. Yeah.
Just time out, time to just take a breather.
Yeah. Would you say, like, in these situations, right? And you've been around this game for a long time. Would you say that honesty is the best policy, is more, fruitful, or is, the cash grab, like, not giving them the full deal more? Like, would you say those guys are more successful, or the honesty is the best policy is more successful?
Honesty is always the best policy.
Always.
It's the only solution that works.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
In the long term, the other can work in the short. You might have a good year,
right?
But you're gonna crash and burn.
You can't overpromise and underdeliver.
No, that's a recipe for disaster. Everybody knows that.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
I like that in sales. A lot of people figure it out, but you can't overpromise, underdeliver.
Yeah.
You gotta find people's problems and then give them solutions to them. You can't come to them with.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I 100% agree. I think too, finance, it is touchy, right?
It's touchy.
Like, and
it's serious, you know?
Yeah. It's scary. It's like you're saying, it is scary, right? And like, you're putting your trust in someone else's hands. So like, you really, like, for you then, as someone, like, and you're not doing this now, but back then, if you're a financial advisor, word of mouth is everything, right? Like, that's really your advertising, is word of mouth. Like, we have, former guest of the show, now co-host of the Weekend Pop-In, and sometimes co-host on the Working Perspectives podcast, Steve Strongstem Cabot. He owns Glendale Automotive. Shout out Glendale Automotive. But he tells us, like, the biggest selling point they have is that they're honest, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not as, like, the auto, like, your car isn't as maybe as important as your financials, but it's up there as, like, it's something
things you don't understand that you have to give to somebody else and be like, look, I don't know if you're going to fuck me or burn me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, you could tell me that this costs $5,000. I go, okay,
right.
I go, cool.
Yeah,
right. And $5,000 is a lot of money. Like, for most people, it's their second biggest financial asset. If they own a home, it's their home. Second to that, it's their car.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah, and dude, and it's like, I mean, man, and the thing that sucks is that there are those scoundrels out there that do take advantage of people, and there is a bad rap that you do have to overcome. But I do think, like, you see, like, Steve Shop's been around for freaking decades, right? So, like, honesty is the best policy, right?
Yeah.
Like, these rich quick grabs and, like, these selling, these under delivering and over prom.
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If they'll change your
that's
brakes for $49, you're probably gonna get shitty brakes.
Oh, dude, amen. So, okay, so you started there, financial advisor. How did you move up the ranks there? Like, where did you go? Because it seems like there's a ton of different roles that are kind of available in that sphere. Is that right?
Yeah. So once I got to the company, where I'm at now, I started, just talking to other people who had 401ks, like across the country, and learned a lot about what was important to them, how they used it, and things like that. So that was a very good learning experience, and talking to the breadth of people, different backgrounds, different industries, different positions in the companies. You really got a sense for, what's important to different folks financially, especially when it came to how they think about retirement, And then there were different jobs there. I worked with individual clients in, like, sales and retirement type of specialty roles. So, not outbound, like where I'm calling out trying to find my own clients, but people who would, who we'd work with that are looking for help, and we try to find them the best solution and, help them with that process and, provide them some guidance or advice, on how to invest their retirement money.
Yeah.
So I had roles like that. Then I was in management for a number of years. So I led a team, first of 10 people, right? 10 people or so. And then I was the manager of the team leaders. So then the team leaders had the 10 people on their team, they reported to me. So I had about 60 people or so under me. Then I was the boss of the managers, so I had, like, the couple managers who each had 10 team leaders, in different areas of the company and
look
advice.
at you.
Yeah. So I liked a lot about management, my different leadership roles, and I loved my favorite thing about it was really help seeing people flourish, seeing somebody find their thing, because there's a bunch of stuff that you deal with in a corporate environment and a new job. And you mentioned the politics. I mean, that's a piece of it, Then there's the job responsibilities, it's technology, the expectations, how things move on a year-to-year basis, new goals, new people coming in. There's a lot, but when you work with somebody to figure out what's important to them, it's similar to like the financial piece, but more on a personal level when it comes to their career. It's like, figuring out what makes them tick, what they're good at, and what inspires them, and then helping them find, options and solutions to kind of maximize that. Like put yourself in a position where you're doing those things that you're best at and you like the most more often. You're going to have better results. And then they go on to achieve great things and get that next promotion or that next, that next job somewhere in that dream area that they were looking at, or even if it's just an uncertain next step they want to take a risk on, it's like seeing people challenge themselves that way and going for it. That was the coolest thing I liked about, working as a manager, as a boss. And no,
I was just going to say, the one thing that they don't say about managers, especially in an office setting, you're also a part-time shrink, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So many people are coming to you with like you're just at points you're a ventilation system because everyone's coming to vent. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's Sally's talking about Mark and Mark's crapping on Gary, and dude, it's just like this person hates this person, and you're just like, hey, we're just trying to plug holes in the ship here, guys. Like, let's just all eyes forward here. You know what I mean? Like, dude, that's just, to me, I don't know. I mean, it's so much.
I walked into a corporate takeover of a old company who hadn't changed their ways, and I now was in charge of a span of 12 women spanning from 40 to 78. And so I had to deal with the infighting between them. One woman who only knew how to use a typewriter. And they would have burned me at the stake if I fired her. So I had to deal with that. I had to deal with them. You
have to deal with everything, right? I'm telling you, that's the thing. That's what you're right. That's what they don't tell you about.
Yeah, they walk in your office, like, there's no cups in the break room, and I'm like, okay, do you not have cups at home? Like, what?
It's your fault.
Just scoop it at the faucet. Leave me alone.
No, dude, I had a buddy of mine, and he's a fan of the show, listening to the show. I won't say his name, but he's a noodle. But either way, he had told me, like, he's in a managerial role where he's at, and he had told me, he's like, look, there's people that, like, he's like, the best employee in his mind isn't the guy who does the most work, because that guy often is the guy that also complains the most. Right? Like, you might be the best worker, but you might also complain the most or crap on other people because you're pissed that they're not at the same level as you are, and you hold everyone to the same level as what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. He's like, the best one is the guy that comes in, he does the amount that we ask him to do. He comes in, he clocks in, does his job while he's here, and then he clocks out and he goes home, and that's it. And he needs very much, like, he's letting me know when he's taking PTO, and like, he's just doing his job and not bothering me.
Reliably.
He's like, the best employees money can buy. He doesn't have to be a rock star. He doesn't have to be killing it with numbers or doing whatever. He just does what I ask and goes home.
That's
the best employee. Right. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, wow, I've been kind of a jerk then. You know what I mean? I'm like, maybe I've done some Rockstar stuff, but I've done some other stuff too that I'm like, oh, yeah. But yeah. So, okay. So you were in like a high level managerial role, right? Like, that's crazy. That's like, okay. So then so you're still there now, right? Is that where the role you're in now? So you're in a high level managerial role. So I have people in my office that are in roles that you're in. That's incredible. I would love to wrestle or jiu-jitsu or box some of the people.
Bring them into the gym, Matt.
Oh, I was.
Bring them in. We'll do some kind of contest.
Oh.
We'll do some kind of event.
We had previously on the show, we had assistant vice president of the company that I'm working at. His name's Chris Mastroli on the show. Great dude. Awesome dude. He's not what I'm thinking of, but there's a couple of like higher level people on the show or on at my office that I'm like, if you came into jiu-jitsu, like well, it'd be a good day for old Uncle Matty. I'll tell you that. But no, like it's just, it is cool though to see like, but I think one of the reasons why you are so successful, one, you're a great dude, you're personable, you're helpful, you're like very sound mentally, morally, spiritually, like you're a good person. You instill confidences in people, right? And you still like you instill confidence in people about like how you'll treat them and how you'll behave. You're fair, you're kind, like you're not out to get anyone, you're here to help people, right? But like, you're also like you're not going to take any shit either. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I think like, were you always that way? Or like, did you see like you're kind of self-slipping, but now with like the way you've been training and everything like that, has it really changed you as more of like a force now? Right. Of like, yeah. you're really making moves and making growth in like personal work, everything. Would you say like that's been what's going on at the gym thus far?
100%. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for the nice words, first of all.
Hey, of course, man. We can smell our own, brother.
That's right. I mean, I've always tried to, treat people the way that I would want to be treated, with, trying to lend the best part of me out to them at first, and introduce the best of me, to them. So that way, hopefully they'll do the same to me, right? Yeah. Like in return, right? Yeah. And I just think that works better. That's a better formula for life, I think, based on my experience, but at the same time, like when I was boxing and stuff, it was a good outlet to get that aggressive, part out and, that swagger part, like there's part of that that's like it's and there's that piece where I don't know, like to get beat up, like drained, like very tired, you're sore, you're working. There's something good about that, right?
Yeah.
Like it develops you.
So emptying the tank every day.
Yeah,
emptying the tank. Yeah, there's something to it.
Yeah.
So I think like as my working career, like my professional career built up, I lost some of that outlet, right? Yeah. And I lost some of that physical outlet, and I lost a healthy way to release that aggressive energy, And what that did for me then was like I got fat, lazy, addicted, like different things, like behavior that wasn't very healthy for me overall, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's where, I'm looking in the mirror then in my late 30s, well over 300 pounds, thinking like not feeling good, in constant pain, right? Not having the energy that I want, hitting the wall every day at like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? Like, just like, and thinking, okay, there's a better way. There's got to be a better way here. So then that gets me motivated a little bit. And now that I've been training, jiu-jitsu, and now that I've gotten myself in better physical shape, I'm more flexible, I'm stronger, I'm more limber, I have more energy, right? All of that stuff, more vitality, just more of me. More of me in every way, you know? It's like it's coming out. Well, Thickfitusa is one of them, right? Ideas, getting out there, doing things with my kids, going to all the baseball games, cheering them on with the stuff they're in there, doing stuff around the house more so, right? Than I did before when I was on the couch in pain, right? That's meaningful. So like all of this stuff, it's making me, more of me, and a big piece of that, I think, is to be able to bring that monster out again. It's like, Jordan Peterson, who I read, and listen to, he talks about like, you don't want to be just, meek and mild and take orders and just be nice. He's like, no. You want to be a monster, an absolute monster. And then you want to harness that and use it for good. Right. But that means, being able to, to stand up for what you believe in, not in an arrogant, or like it's my way or the highway type of way, but saying what you believe to be true and, following through with action for stuff that you think is right, and that is you too, right? That's another piece of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I found that again, right? Like I found that again in these past couple years going to Henzo's, and meeting guys like Rich and Jordan and you and like and all the guys down there. It's like it's like a spin cycle, but in a positive way. It gets these grouped together, and then you kind of learn from each other, and you feed off each other's energy, and you support each other, and then I mean, that's a good thing. That's nothing but goodness, right?
Agreed.
So that's that has changed me. It's changed me in a good way,
dude. I'll tell you, +2, man. When you're laying on the couch and you're in pain and you're living the life like a slug, like you don't want to go out and you're like embarrassed because of how you look and like you're all like you're insecure, right? But now like you have this new way of living and like you're experiencing life now and like you're going out and enjoying life and you have kids, right? Like your kids deserve that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, right, my dad got really sick when I was 9. He had his first stroke, right? And he was like, got ultra sick. And then he would get sicker and sicker down the year. So he couldn't like go to places and do things. And when he would try, he would have like a seizure and it was a whole thing, right? But before that, he was always like at every game. He was always at like every wrestling match and he was involved with the coaches and the training and everything. And it was the fucking best, man.
Yeah.
Right. And I think about that. And I think about like how I want to be able to do that for my daughter, like I want to be there and support her and coach her teams and like do all that kind of stuff. Cause like it is the best for the kids. Like they might be like whatever about it now, but when they think about it later, they're going to absolutely cherish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like before, when you're not involved as much now, you and your boys, you're all over the map. You're doing everything and you're going on adventures and experiencing all this stuff. And the fact that you were like mentally strong enough to know, like, get off your ass, get back in the gym. Like it started with the walking, it started everything, but change your life, get back in the gym, do your thing. And now you've not just changed your life, you've changed lives of all the people that you work with underneath you and work with you and next to you and above you and everything like that. You've changed lives with all the people you come in contact with, but most of all, your family's lives have completely turned around. Right.
Yeah.
So like, that's just the best thing ever, man. And I'm so happy for you. And I'm so proud that you could do that, dude. And it's honestly like, that's one of the benefits of working at the gym. I've been there for 14 years. And one of the best things about it is you get to see people like you and people turn their life around by coming to the gym, training and adapting to the culture. And I know like Rogan is a huge advocate of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because of the culture that it builds and what it instills in people and how like it makes people like you're a person that makes the world a better place just by like what you believe and like how you act and how you carry yourself and how you treat others. Right. And that all stems from your time. Like you weren't a bad person before, but I'm saying now, like you're impacting everyone you're with. And it's, and it's an incredible thing to see. And I'm freaking happy for you, man. And this is, your transformation has been incredible. I would love, hey, if you got some before and after shots, I'll throw them on the show. Like, dude, I would love to have, how great would that be to have some
yeah.
Oh, dude, send them to me because I'll put them on the video and we'll clip the hell out of it. That'll be awesome. But dude, I'll tell you another thing. How special of a guy is Rich? Dude.
Oh, incredible.
He is, I'll tell you, man.
Incredible.
He's like, I love the hell out of that dude, man. He's been nothing but the best to me. I can't thank him enough for everything. He's just the best dude there is. But
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he and the way he does such a good job at keeping the right element there and the wrong element out.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The bullies, the tough guys, that
shit
kind
don't
of
last.
stuff. It doesn't fly there. It doesn't fly, you know? And he does a really good job, but there's dangerous guys there. Like there's real legit, martial artists, and real dangerous guys, but they're good.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really neat to see. Rich, when I first go, so I went to watch a few classes first. I took my boys and we said, we'll just go watch, let's just go watch. Let's check it out. Let's see what you think. If you want to try a class, then we can. So we went and we watched, and I talked to Jordan, and Jordan encouraged me. He's like, "Hey, I think you can do this." He's like,
Jordan actually
yeah,
talked.
Listen, he's all back. He's there taping his fingers, Matt. He's taping his
Yeah.
fingers back by the desk, like looking at me. I'm like, this guy. I'm like, look at this guy. I'm like, this guy is kind of special. Like I can see this. So like he's looking. I'm like, I want to take my boys here, and he's like. Oh, he's like, good. He's like, yeah, have him come. Like, we had classes on Saturdays, kids class at 10. You can come. And I said, good. And like, well, what about you? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I thought about it, but I'm in my 40s. Like, I'm in my 40s. I'm like, I have a bad back. I'm overweight. Like, he's like, why don't you come in here and try it? He's like the average. He's like, Jordan, how he's cool.
Oh,
he's
bro.
He's like, listen, Matt. He's like, the average age here is like 35. He's like, you'd fit right in, So like he encouraged me a little bit, right? He encouraged me. So I came and then I did it my first class and I got through it. I thought I was going to be broken in half, but I got my first class and then I came to talk to Rich. I said, Rich, I think I can do that. We're going to sign up, so we go to sign up. And he's telling me about, hey, welcome. He gets me some like shirts, the Henzo Garden.
Oh yeah, the merch, baby. I got so much merch. It's coming out my ears, man. I got merch years ago. Oh, it's the best.
I bet you got classics, right? You got the classic, the OG merch. So
he would give us the gift. He would get every year. He used to give us our Christmas gift. He would give us custom made jackets. Bro, I honestly, if anything ever happened to these jackets, I would kill somebody because they are like
jackets.
Oh, dude, and like when I wear them to the gym, everyone's like, "Bro, where did you get that?" I was like, "It's one of 5, brother. You gotta earn this thing."
It's exclusive.
Oh yeah, the best. So sorry, keep going. So like you're getting the merch, and he's
getting the merch
with everything. Yeah.
So he's like, what size? I go, well, double extra large. And he's like. And he goes, well, look, he's like, I have extra large. He's like, I could order you double extra large, and we could get that. I'll probably come in a couple weeks. He says, or you can have the extra large today and I'll have you fitting in it in 6 months. And he said it like that, kind of, right? He said it like that. And I looked at this guy and I was like, I thought, like, really? Like, really?
Yeah. Like, you're shitting me?
Yeah, like you're gonna say that, and you're gonna have me. I haven't worn an extra large since I was 16 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna have me fitting in an extra large in 6 months?
Yeah.
Game on. Yeah. Game on. I'll take the extra large, right? I'll take the extra large.
Fuck yeah.
And like, what do you know? I'm wearing an extra large for the first time, like ever in my adult life.
Dude,
right? Not that that's the goal. And I didn't even go out with the goal really to lose weight, in particular.
Yeah.
But I did, and I got in the best shape I've been in probably since maybe in my whole life.
Dude, and honestly, one of the things I tell people about coming to the gym, right? It's like, how many times can you fucking lift weights and run on a treadmill and on an elliptical, whatever? And we have all that shit available if you want to do that. But when you go to the gym, either if it's boxing or Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling or grappling or whatever, dude, it is forever evolving. You're learning new stuff all the time.
There's
right?
no bottom to it. You always learn.
And you're always learning, and you're always, every time you go there, you're growing. Every time. There's no other gym like that you can go to where every time you go there, you're getting better. Every time. Right.
Every time.
There's nothing else like it. And honestly, it's incredible. And dude, what you're saying about like, so we had Padilla on the show and him and talking about it. And me and Josh talked about it too. Josh Lawler episode available now on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Same with the Mike Padilla episode available now on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Work and Respect This Podcast. But either way, we're talking about when you get people that come in, there's some dudes that need to get, they got to get checked, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, everyone, you have to do it because like and it's not even like you're doing it to be the alpha male. You're doing it because you have to protect the other people there, and that's part of your job as like an instructor. Because there's guys that'll come in and maybe they've had a little juice, maybe they're fucking muscle on top of muscle, or they're on testosterone or whatever, and they think they're fucking Johnny Hyde nuts. Right. Yep. And like there's been times that they come in and those dudes, they get humbled real quick because there's like and it could be, dude, it could be a guy that's been there for years. If, and like, whatever, if anybody that's a higher skill level tries to take it out on a guy lower skill level, they're done. And like the shark starts circling right then. And like, there's been times where like I wasn't even gonna spar, like I'm just there as an instructor, and I saw someone doing that, and you just throw the gloves on right away, and you have to do it, and it has to be like a lesson that you teach people, right?
Has to be a little bit of lesson. Yeah,
it has. You got, like, I'll tell them, like, look, brother, there's always a bigger fish. You do that shit again, you're out of here, and you're not coming back. And that's an even bigger threat than like getting beaten up, is like not being allowed to come back, because it does become part of people's identity,
Yeah. And there's one of two things that usually happens after something like that. Like, one is you never hear from them again, or they run, or two is they come back.
Yeah.
They're dedicated, and they come back with a newfound respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Right. But
there's plenty of guys.
It happens the other way too, don't it?
Oh, dude, there's so many guys that are like, they'll be in there, and like they're the ones that say they're coming. Like, they're not coming back when they say, "Oh, I'll be back." I'm doing this now. This is my life, right? Fuck, never see him again.
Yeah.
Right.
Go on.
Yeah. Whatever. That's fine. So before we get out of here, we're coming to the top of time. Before we got out of here, and I know we didn't talk about like how you're still teaching drumline and things like that and everything, but I wanted to give a shout out to Thickfit again, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the mission is real. The life is real. You're leveling up you're leveling up your family. I know we've talked about it a bunch, but it's going to be available in the description. We're going to have a link to everything. It's Thickfit USA on Instagram, right? And what other platforms are you on?
We're on Instagram right now, but we're in the midst of developing a plan for YouTube. We're going to launch a website. We want to sell some T-shirts or merch and different stuff.
Your merch game up, baby.
Yeah. But right now, I'm not putting the cart before the horse. Right now, I want to try different things. I'm learning the technology. I want to see what people like. So
if you want some help, bro, I'll tell you. And like, we'll keep this in. But you should, if you get a TikTok, the way you set it up is that if you post on TikTok, then it posts the same video on your Instagram as you're posting it on TikTok.
All right, I gotta set it up that way,
dude.
I gotta set it up that way. So
and then
it's on TikTok too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
you'll be on. I'm telling you, it's where like, I think, but as of now, our TikTok channel with like all our views combined, I've easily had over 100,000. Right.
Wow, that's awesome.
But like, and like, one video hit like 70. So it's like mostly the one, but still like making 30,000 out of the rest, and like, the thing is like, I've listened to this guy, and, people listening can bite off of this as they want. It just helps. But I was listening to this guy who's an Instagram influencer. Right. And like, he said that his plan was, he wanted to post at least one reel every day for a month. And he did that, and he gained over 100,000 followers in that month. Right.
Wow.
So that, like, I've been trying that. And like, the way I'll do it is I'll post on TikTok, I'll post on Instagram Reels, right? Then you take that same video that's on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and that could be a YouTube short, right? Which is like the TikTok of YouTube, right? And that's the same thing. You throw that on there, and it's a quick 1 minute scroll, right? And like, then once you do that, right? Like,
just connect them all.
Oh, dude, exactly. And it's the same video on every platform, right? But it's like, you have to think, let's say like you get 1,000 on TikTok, right? And like, I put our brand on every video. So it says Working Perspectives Podcast on every video, right?
Yeah.
Then that's 1,000 people that saw it there. Then you go to like, okay, I put out a chain of videos yesterday. It was like a 5 video series, right? And I looked at it today, right? And it was over 3,000 views combined with all videos, right?
Wow.
So that's like, out of just those two, like just those videos, that's like 4,000 there. Then you throw it on YouTube, maybe you hit it on there for a couple hundred, right?
Yep.
So like, and that's all different things. Then you can throw that on Twitter. Another few people see it there. You throw it on Facebook, another few people there. So that's one video you throw on all these platforms, right? So you're getting thousands of views, and it does suck. Like, I mean, honestly, it's the hardest part of the game is the social media, in my opinion. It's the hardest part of the game, right? But like once you get a rhythm down and learn it, and like, dude, just Google like the best times of day to post on Instagram. It's like 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. whatever, right?
Yep.
Just fucking do, yeah, like just do that, and like you'll be like, dude, I'm just telling you, I'll help you out with that, man. Be more than happy to do it, and we'll promote all that shit. We'll have links to everything. By the time this airs, you're gonna have a YouTube, you're gonna have a TikTok, you're gonna have a fucking.
I don't have Facebook on it either. Do I need a Facebook, or do you not use Facebook?
No, do you have a personal Facebook?
I have a personal Facebook account.
So this is what you'll do, right? Post everything on your personal Facebook. You should because once you do the YouTube.
Post my ThickFit stuff on my personal Facebook.
Dude, Facebook is one of the most, like, I know it's for the older crowd now, whatever. It's not the cool hip thing, but millions and millions of people, billions of people are on there still. So you're going to get people that see it that like you don't know is still on there, and like they'll catch it. I know people don't go on there a lot every day, but they'll still catch it. Right. And like people view it. But like the big thing is you want to put your YouTube link on there because everyone has YouTube. Right. Not everyone has Instagram, but everyone has YouTube.
Yeah. Not everybody has Instagram. That's what I'm finding. Right.
Yeah. So like if you have your TikTok video, you can keep that on TikTok, maybe tweet it. Your Instagram, you can keep it on Instagram, maybe tweet it, whatever. But your YouTube video can go on Instagram. Like your YouTube video could go on Instagram, but you wouldn't need it to. But your YouTube video can go on Facebook. But then what you want to do is under your private account, you want to create a page for ThickFit. Right. And when
under my personal account.
Yes. Under your personal Facebook account, you're going to create a page on Facebook, and it'll be your Thickfit USA page. Right. You can invite everyone to the page. So when you post on that, it goes out to everyone as like a message going out. Right.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, exactly. So like you'll post on there, and like, you know, you'll see, everyone will see it, whatever. And it can reach out to people. Also, they have, like you saw, like you see, like you can boost the post for like $40. I've done that. It's not worth the fucking money. No. Okay. I mean, I've never, like, I've done it where like they say, here's, pay $40 and you can, this post can be viewed by 9,000 people. I paid the $40 and it got like 400 people looked at it. I'm like, I'm not paying $40 for 400, bub. Like, you know, like you get me a 10 grander, I'll pay $40 every time, you know, but but no, like, but it, you know, there's ways you can boost and things like that, but like that's what, like, you just got to cross platform one video, and like, dude, I'm telling you, minute clips is the way to go, even shorter, right? Minute max. And then like when I don't, like, you know, just put, like, they have links on everything. Like, dude, you should do a YouTube page with your content. You got great shit, because like then on YouTube maybe you can make it a longer video. Right.
Yeah, that's my problem. I go too long with a lot of it. You know,
Dude, but like that, honestly, that's better. Right. So if you have a 5-minute video, that's 5 clips. And I'm telling you this right now, if people see a number 1, right, they see like, hey, this is blah, 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 part 1. They're getting, like, they want to get to the end. Right. If you get them hooked, they're like, oh, I'm going to see this. I'm going to see this. I'm going to see this. Telling you, when I do like a series, that's one of our more viewed. Like yesterday, the one that got almost 3,000 views, that was a 5-part series about me sneaking on the girl's roof with a ladder in the middle of the night and going into the room. You know what I mean? Right? Like, and the story was good, but it was just like, you know. So I'm telling you, like those short little quick ones, that'll get you some stuff. But like, you know, to get monetized and everything, I really want to get into the merch game. That's what I need. Like, I really need to start investing time into that. But we really went off on a tangent there. Before we get out of here, I want to shout out what you're doing on Thickfit USA. Love what you're doing. Love the mission you're on, and the entrepreneurship and everything like that. I think it's fucking incredible, man. And I'm so proud of you. So, like, dude, I had no idea you were the fucking boss of all bosses, the capo de capri of the financial world here.
I don't know about the bosses of all bosses. I help advisors and business owners set up retirement plans now.
Yeah, you're the boss of a bunch of bosses, but dude, no. So, dude, that's awesome. And I can't tell you how great it's been to watch your transformation and where you've gone. It's been incredible, man. And you're a great dude. And honestly, just tickled pink that you came on the show. And I know we're coming to the top of time. Like I said, Thickfit USA, the links will be in the description of this episode. Highly suggest checking it out. Really great, inspirational stuff. I want to get some, like, that's another thing you should do. That should be your first video, is your transformation video.
Yeah.
Right. that you need to be working on that. Like that's 1 million views, babe. You're looking at right there. And like you put that transformation on all platforms, right? You're hitting on every one of them. Those are massive popularity. But either way, so we're going to have a link for that in the description of this episode. Please check it out. Really good stuff. We're coming to the top of time. Chat, before we get out of here, is there anything you want to say to the legions of your adoring fans before we take off?
Adoring fans, first, thank you, Matt. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
I would say that please, check out Thickfitusa. Let me know what you think. Comment on it. Send me a message. Let me know. I want to really have a community of like-minded people here who are focused on getting better. We're going to focus on the body, the mind, the spirit, the whole ball of wax.
Positivity.
And it's about getting healthy, getting confident, getting strong, and getting dangerous, but using it for good. So that's the whole thing. If that sounds good to you, come check it out, and I'd love to hear your ideas. Go for it. Go for it, because you can do it and you deserve it. Go get it. That's my message.
Damn right, brother. Hey, you're living proof of that, brother. Get after it and you can get it. Amen. JDub, anything you want to say to the JDub faithful before we take off?
I already sent my follow request to Thickfitusa.
Hey,
all right. Oh, look at that.
I might get off my couch tomorrow, go for a walk, maybe drag my dog.
Maybe hit the road.
Come on, you're the guy.
Hit the road.
Listen, you're a thick fitter too, man. Welcome to the club. There's room on the bus. Come join us. Come join us.
I might get there.
Always room for the thick fitters. Nice.
I like it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, dude, this was honestly, I was so I knew this was gonna be a good fucking show when we were coming into it, but you fucking nailed it, Chad. This was fucking awesome. So this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by Justin Richardson, and our guest today was Chad Kilhefner from Thickfitusa. You can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can hang out with us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast and join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And I'll tell you, it's tough being this great while my wife's beating me over my head for doing this damn show. So just like and subscribe so she stops killing me with this stuff. This has been the Working Perspectives podcast. Thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See you. Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott and Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott and Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott & Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott and Bell Publishing, where the authors go.